fall morning. How'd it feel coming in, Kwesa?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad, you know. I didn't need to. I have this, little sweater thing on. I felt okay.
Okay.
A little chilly. It's starting to
A
get
little
cold.
bit.
I have to start bringing my jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about doing overseeding my grass because this is the time of the year that you do that. But now the squirrels are out. I told you they're eating the pumpkins that my wife put out in front of the house, right?
They're going to eat the seeds, too.
They're going to eat the seeds, too. But I got those blue seeds. They got something on them that the birds won't eat them. Now, I don't know what the squirrels going to do. But the birds like, nah, that don't look real to me. You know what I mean? But the squirrels, they kind of hood. They eating the pumpkins. They eating the corn off the door, like all of that. So we'll see what happens. But just, a lot of craziness going on. Starting with your president. So he comes to the White House, right? Y'all gonna let me out of this hospital. So he gets out of the hospital. He comes to the White House, and he's fist bumping people. I want to know who these people are that's fist bumping him. Like, who's fist bumping him back? Because if you try to fist bump me, I'm backing up. Like, nah, dog, you got that Rona. Like, who are these people, Kwesa? I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe you know.
No. Listen, I'd be like, I would just be, you can't see me. I forget. Not everybody can see me, but yeah, I would be two-stepping all the way back.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be bobbing and weaving like it's a boxing match. Like, look, man, what is wrong with you? Like, so he comes and then he stands up and he stands up in front of the White House and snatches off the mask. Like, it's all, I'm looking at him and I'm really thinking, Kwesa, it's all an act. I'm serious. Because that's what it looks like to me. This doesn't look real. This looks like some theatrics that you've decided you're going to put together to try to convince people that you're this superhuman person. No, you're 77, you're overweight, and you're on the Big Mac diet. Like, you have risks, buddy. If you really had this thing, you know what I'm saying? Kwesa, it just doesn't look right. But anyway, we're going to talk about that. I need to talk about this because this is as important, if not more important, than this fool standing up here trying to tell us that up is down and down is up and black is white and white is black. Like, don't listen to him. If you didn't know how important U.S. senators are, you're going to learn today, because the announcement that Republican U.S. Senator Pat Toomey will not seek re-election has thrown the 2022 race into high gear. 18 years is a long time, Toomey said, of his time in the Senate and his 3 terms in the U.S. House. All of that time, our family has lived in Pennsylvania. I've spent as little time as I could in Washington, but it still adds up to a lot of time. I'm looking forward to more time being back home. Now, let me just say this. I need to spend more time with my family is usually code for somebody's got something on me and I need to leave before they expose it. But who knows? For Toomey, the family thing might just be true. Either way, that Senate seat could be the difference between another Clarence Thomas selling us out or another Ruth Bader Ginsburg fighting for the little guy. That's because senators confirm federal judges and Supreme Court justices. They help decide how the law is carried out in America. In short, senators matter. So right after we finish handling our business in this presidential election, y'all better get ready for 2022, because if you don't know how important senators are right now, guess what? You're going to learn today. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with WURD. CNN commentator Roxanne Jones on the president's reckless behavior. Dr. Delana Wardlaw and Dr. Elena McDonald have some truth on coronavirus. Darrell C. Murphy of Plan Philly on creating a public bank to deal with inequity in lending. And Jeff Brown's going to join us to talk about Man Up PHL. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065 or toll free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at forward. But first, it's the big 3, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with WURD. Story number 1, saying their fight for justice is not over. Attorneys for Breonna Taylor's family asked the governor of Kentucky to appoint a new special prosecutor to reopen the case and slammed Attorney General Daniel Cameron for intentionally not presenting homicide charges against 3 white officers who fatally shot the 26-year-old black woman in her own apartment. The request was made in an open letter to Governor Andy Beshear and came a day after the public release of 15 hours of recordings of a 3-day grand jury hearing, which resulted in one officer being indicted not of killing Breonna Taylor, but of wanton endangerment for shooting into the neighbor's apartment. You know what, Kuwais? If they thought $12 million was going to keep these people quiet, they got another thing coming.
I'm so here for this.
Yep.
I am here for this because there is no price tag that you can put on a person's life. And and really, honestly, when you think about the fact that there are other people who have gotten way more money for that, like, no, $12 million is not enough. I'm going to dig in. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to hold you accountable for what you did to my daughter. That is what I would do. So I'm proud of this family. I stand behind this family. I support this family. Do what you need to do, because I said it a couple of days ago. The fact that he was very biased in this situation, and so it's necessary for this family to go in and go hard. That's how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. You are absolutely right. And we'll take the $12 million. We'll invest it. We'll save it. We'll make sure we have money for generations. But y'all gonna pay for the death of my daughter. Real talk. Like, it ain't no way in the world y'all gonna kill somebody's daughter, pay them off, and be like, oh, we're so sorry this happened, and nobody's held accountable. And the shame of it, to me, the thing that's most disgusting to me is seeing this black man out front running this game. Come on, man. Please sit down. Get out of the way. Yeah, put somebody else in charge that's actually going to do the right thing, which brings me to story number 2. White House Press Secretary Kelly McEnany has now tested positive for COVID-19. That's right, Malibu Barbie got COVID. And so we are watching and seeing all of this thing just unravel. 30 people now in Trump's circle with COVID-19, and it is ridiculous to see all of these people saying that they're positive, but you see the president walking around snatching off his mask, getting in a car with other people, endangering the American public, talking about don't be scared of COVID-19. It's 210,000 people dead. Like, this guy is trying to convince us that reality is not real. I mean, it's like something out of a dystopian novel. This is crazy to watch this guy actually run this game on us, man. We're going to be talking about it a little bit later on with Dr. Delana Wardlaw and, of course, Dr. Elena McDonald. CNN commentator Roxanne Jones go weigh in on it as well. But none of this, Kuwaisa, makes sense to me.
It makes absolutely no sense to me. And the thing that's crazy is that the man is struggling to breathe. Like, I don't know if you saw like a couple of, like, the times when he was speaking to folks. He's over there like breathing real deep, chest heaving, and stop sitting here acting like it's not affecting you. Either it's not affecting you at all, or this is a whole game, a whole ploy. But I sent you this a message yesterday. But you sitting here acting like it's no big deal. But of course you had access to some of the best health care here that we have here in this country, and yet you are sitting here telling people to not be afraid. You have all those people who are afraid dying alone in hospital beds at home, because of the fact that there is this horrible disease that is out here killing us, and you want people to not be afraid? Yeah. You're acting like this is no big deal, and then you sit there and you put other people's lives in danger by taking off your mask, sitting in the cars with your Secret Service. They're here to protect you from, enemies, foreign and domestic, but you, sir, are the real enemy.
You putting them in danger. Putting their lives in danger. Sitting in a hermetically sealed car. That means nothing gets in, nothing gets out. So y'all got on masks in the car, whatever. You're exposing them to this virus, if in fact you got. I mean, it's hard to believe anything he says. I mean, nothing. If he sat there and said, my name is Donald Trump, I'm doubting that. I don't believe nothing you say, dude. You done lied so much. It is unreal, which brings me, The story number 3, President Donald Trump staged a reckless departure from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center on Monday, telling his followers the virus that dangerously deprived him of oxygen and hospitalized him for 72 hours was nothing to fear before posing for a maskless photo op on the White House balcony. It was a remarkable attempt to convert his still ongoing disease into a show of strength, even as it underscored his long-standing practice of denying the pandemic's severity and downplaying its risks despite the more than 210,000 Americans dead. Don't be afraid of COVID, he said. Don't let it dominate your life. That's what he wrote on Twitter several hours before walking carefully out of the hospital's gold front doors, even as his doctors warned he wasn't yet out of the woods. Wearing a white cloth mask and a navy blue suit, Trump gave several thumbs up and fist bumps to who? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who bumping fists with you, dude? As he walked down the hospital's front steps toward the waiting helicopter, he would not answer when asked how many of his staffers had tested positive. Well, we do know. Now, you call him Ken. I call him Race Bannon. Some people call him Mike Pence. He is negative, right? Malibu Barbie, she is, of course, the press secretary. Kayleigh McEnany, she has tested positive, as have 30 people in Trump's orbit. I'm talking about senators. I'm talking about staffers. I'm talking about secretaries. I mean, all kinds of people around him have tested positive. And so my question is this, right? So even if, let's take it at face value, he's got coronavirus, right? You're getting treatments that normal people don't get, right? You're getting this steroid. Now, there's supposed to be some side effects to the steroid, including, mania, like, excited behavior. So you ain't going to be able to tell because that's how he normally act anyway. Another one is depression, right? And then he's getting this other drug. I think it's called remdesivir. And this antibody treatment that's still experimental. It hasn't yet been approved. So you're getting all of this stuff. But again, if you're 77 years old, you're really overweight, right? You on the Big Mac diet. That's for real. You on the Big Mac diet. That's what he do, right? And watch TV. Watch Fox, eat Big Macs. So how in the world are you now walking around? And who are these people who are fist bumping you, touching you? Like, who are these people? Kuwesa, something smells rotten in the state of Denmark. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Is it me?
No, it's not. It's all so suspect, and we've been talking about it, but we should not have to sit here and question whether or not this man is sick. It's because he's lied to us so many times. We're like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are we really sure that you're sick? But the thing is that he's gonna sit here and try to play it off and act like it's not really affecting him. But I actually really do think that it's affecting him, and he's just acting, because I saw him heaving, like his chest was like just taking deep breath. That's how I feel when I'm having an asthma attack. So you can't tell me that you're breathing correctly. That's how I'm feeling when I'm looking at him. That's what I see. And then the other piece too is that a lot of the people who have been sick, like around him, they haven't been doing all this press and things like that. They've been kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna try to rest up and get better. Haven't really heard from Melania too much. So I mean, I'm just like, he's really putting on this act, trying to front on people, and it's not acceptable. It really isn't. And then you just continuously put people's lives in danger when you didn't have to. It all could have been avoided.
Yeah. All he had to do in the beginning was wear a mask, wash his face, wash his hands, take it seriously. I ain't never seen nobody around him with hand sanitizer. I ain't never seen nobody around. You know what? No, wait a minute. The one person I saw that looked like they was putting some on, right? He might be a sellout, but the black minister, right? When they had the debate, he was sitting behind his family. I'm telling this guy from Cleveland, he's got like a protruding lower lip. He sits, and he's been a guy who's kind of been on the forefront with Trump, with the ministers praying for him, etc. In the beginning. But I saw him. He looked like he was putting on some hand sanitizer at the debate. Like, you know what? I ain't going to wear this mask, but I'm going to sneak and put this. You know what I mean? He's still black underneath. But I'm watching this thing, man, and it really does not make sense to me. So we're trying to figure it out. Doctors are trying to figure it out because, again, the other thing that I think confuses people is that you have his doctor giving this conflicting information, trying to hide stuff, talking about he wanted to be upbeat. That's not your job. You're the doctor. You're not the spin doctor. You're the medical doctor. Your job is to get him well. You know what I mean? Not spin, not, offer optimism, none of that. That's not your job. And so, it could very well all be an act, him trying to, project strength, knowing that this election is just a few days away. But you know what? Sometimes God steps in. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes God steps in and says, you know what? You done lied to these people enough. You have allowed enough people to die. You have done enough damage to this country, to this people, to this world. And you know what? Now I'm stepping in. Sometimes God step in. Now, y'all might not believe in him, but that's all right. He believe in you. I'm trying to tell you, sometimes God will be like, nah, this is enough of this foolishness. You've served my purpose. Now it's time for me to step in because it's time for you to go. I want to know what you think. You give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. So I really think that it's odd. It is. It's odd to see somebody who needed to be hospitalized get up after 3 days, walking around. Like, I'm trying to understand what is going on here. And maybe you can help me. Give me a call. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Weather and traffic to keep you informed for your drive home. In the happy hour with Sincerely Sarita. Monday through Thursday, 4 till 7 p.m. Right here on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
The North Star Convention is a statewide event where concerned citizens, lawmakers, union, and community leaders are collectively working together to create an agenda that will address systemic issues in the black community throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Saturday, October 10th, will feature keynote speaker Dr. Cornel West. Go to northstarconvention.com to register for the free convention. WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the mattress man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by Lowe's. Getting busy in spots here in Philadelphia. Southbound 95, Cottman Avenue down through Bridge. You're jammed up through that work zone. South of that, Betsy Ross through Girard. Also busy now this morning. Northbound 95 looks good. Westbound Vine delays 8th down through Brodigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound James University through 30th through construction. Eastbound side Boulevard to Spring Garden. Busy PA Turnpike, Blue Route 476. No major problems there. 55 north through jammed up Deptford into 42. Maple Shade 73 southbound. Restrictions from in the area of Fellowship Road. That's because of police department activity. When you're spending a lot of time at home staring at your floors lately, for some of us, it's probably time to update the floors. Luckily, Lowe's has a new flooring showroom with a bunch of great options to choose from. They even help with professional installation. See Lowe's.com to learn more. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Good morning. Right now on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM. And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. So before we talk to the doctors and get the real medical opinion on what is happening at the White House, we want to hear from y'all. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. So this is really unusual. So somebody that needs to be hospitalized for 3 days, whose oxygen levels have dropped twice, who is being treated with a regimen of drugs that, regular Americans do not get, walks out of the hospital 3 days later, comes to the White House, fist bumps people, and snatches off his mask. I want to know what you think. What is this looking like to you? Because it looks strange to me. I have to be honest. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. We're going to go to the phone lines and talk to Rose from Logan on line 1. Go ahead, Rose.
Good morning, Solomon. Say it again. Say it again. God is in control.
Yeah.
God is in control. Many people, Donald Trump, this, that, and the other people. I know people that are depressed behind Donald Trump, but I tell them all, God is in control.
Mm-hmm.
God is in control above a Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So
but are you voting no?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Make sure you vote now. Don't. All right.
Go.
Okay.
Most definitely. You
all
keep
right.
all preaching that word, Solomon. It's all been you. Keep telling them something. They need to hear it.
Thank you, Rose.
You. Have a blessed day.
I appreciate it. Thank you so
bye-bye.
much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Malik from Mount Airy on line 2. Go ahead, Malik.
Good morning, Word family. All I see about 45 is he's being 45, a complete jerk, and he's going to do what he's going to do. He's not going to change. But all I was looking at this point is, okay, hopefully he understands that your days are now numbered. November 3rd can't get here fast enough. So, and as far as Kentucky and Brianna, I feel bad that her family is being dragged through the mud because there's no way you're going to tell me you give me $12 million and shut me up, but you're not even going to admit that you did something wrong. And then you as a prosecutor not even mention it to the jury that they can actually indict these cops. Yeah, that's despicable. It's beyond despicable. It's a cover-up, and every single day more lies that y'all done did, and this huge cover-up throughout the state is coming out. So I thank y'all. Y'all have a great day.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go back to the phone lines. Talk to Jerry from West Philly on line 3. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
And all I want to say is amen. Okay. I want to go with Brianna's case. Like the lady said, God got that too, and I'm glad that the family got a good lawyer, and he's not saying no. He's not saying stop. We're gonna leave it right there. And I keep on saying the Caucasian lady that was standing behind the man when he was talking all that bull, she kept wringing her hands and stuff. So I felt like something wasn't right anyway. And things came out, as Vicki said, it's Saturday on the radio, the other Saturday, that he's married to what's his name, McConnell's niece. So a lot of that is about to hit the fan because he think he's going somewhere. That's what it is.
Who's married to McConnell's niece?
That prosecutor.
That's not McConnell's niece. That's not McConnell's niece? No, that's not McConnell's niece.
Well, not McConnell. You know I got the name wrong. Well, anyway, that's what I heard. So
okay.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
But anyway, with the voting, I don't know if they have it set up because I didn't think about it until after I hung up the other day. A lot of people here in Philadelphia, we have a literacy problem, so a lot of them don't know how to go about voting. Do they have something set up where they can help them?
With the people with literacy problems?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That ran across my mind.
That is a good question. I don't know.
Because a lot of them, they don't, they're too proud to say, I need some help. But some of the phone, it ran across my mind that we do have a literacy problem here. Another thing, too, when Toomey mentioned about he's not going to run, well, we was going to vote him out anyway. But I think you need to go back to Representative Representative Malcolm Kanye. Remember he came in and said...
Oh, you mean Kenyatta. Malcolm Kenyatta?
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
Names today.
That's all right.
But Representative, what's his name?
Malcolm Kenyatta.
Yes. I wrote it down. Remember he mentioned something about this bill and something's going on, and he was saying we need to get a better understanding about that.
Yes.
Because I think that Toomey and all them, they got something to do. They got a plan going on.
Maybe they do. I hear you, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Tim from Springfield on line 4. Go ahead, Tim.
Thank you, Solomon, for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I was pleased that you introduced God into the equation. When it was first announced that Trump had corona, the phrase my God is not mocked came across my mind.
Mine too. Mine too.
Yeah. And my wife last night, she said that a cartoonist could have a lot of fun with this, with the Secret Service that he's been putting in danger since day one.
I know.
That they could have a cliff. They could have the Secret Service walking toward the cliff, and you'd have Trump saying next, and he's going over the cliff. And it's horrible that he's putting people, but it just shows his I don't give a damn about any of you attitude.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame. And I hope those Secret Service agents are going to be all right, because here's the thing. They don't have a choice. They have to do their job.
I know.
And it's not right. Like, why would you put them in that position, man? I feel bad for them. I really do.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Tim. Thanks for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We appreciate your call. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. Let's go to Renee from Winfield Rose from Winfield on line 1. Go ahead, Rose.
Good morning, Sullivan.
Good morning.
I did watch when Trump walked back in the White House. Had I been Milana, I would have 302'd him. Because he is a danger to himself and everyone else. I mean, no other person has that much blood on their hands as he has. And he's not going to stop. He's not going to stay in the White House. He will be out there trying to, and his people will gather with him. But that's all I got to say. 302 that man, because he is a living menace to all human beings.
I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. And you know what? Here's what I'm trying to understand. So up until a few days ago, and we're going to be talking to the doctors in a few minutes, and we're going to get this straight. Because my understanding was you had to quarantine for 14 days, right? Now, suddenly when Trump got it, they started saying 10 days. Do you notice that, Kawesa?
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why are y'all saying 10 days now? Before it was 14. Like, what are you talking about? We're going to talk to the doctors in a minute. I cannot wait for them to come on because I'm just, all the conflicting information that we're now getting since Trump got it is like, wait a minute. A couple days ago, y'all was saying it's 14 days. Now all of a sudden it's 10? Which one is it? You know what I mean? Before people was hospitalized and they stayed in the hospital. Now you walk out after 3 days? Which one is it? Like, I need to know some facts around this thing because what I'm seeing is confusing. Let's go to Tyrone from Southwest on line 2. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Yes. Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Well, see, people should realize he's a notorious liar anyway. And Trump's not to be trusted. I don't know, and people got to wake up and go out there and vote. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
All right.
Have a blessed day.
I hear you. You too, and thank you for your call. Gary from Chester is on line 3. Go ahead, Gary.
Solomon Jones, thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Solomon Jones, what black candidate we have and we prepping to take Toomey's job, and which female black candidate we prepping?
That is a good question. That is a really good question. I don't know. But, normally what happens is people will go from the House to the Senate. That's what Toomey did. He spent several terms in the House of Representatives, and then he ran for Senate and won. So we don't have any black females, I don't think, in the House representing Pennsylvania. We can look it up, but I don't think we do. But you're right. We need to be prepping somebody now, right now.
Now, Solomon, has anybody ever came from like the street, from somebody who just took their job without being from the House to the Senate?
I'm sure there are.
Okay, because I don't want no more athletes and no actors.
Yeah, I know.
I want a politician.
I know.
Solomon Jones, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. We need somebody that know what they're doing. We need somebody that understands that system. We really do, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. We're going to go back to the phone lines, talk to Lynn from Darby on line 1. Go ahead, Lynn.
Hi, good morning, Word family, Solomon and Kuwaita.
Good morning.
I'm telling you that Trump, he is just such a nutball. And what disturbs me about this is why are they letting him get away with so much? Solomon, if that was a person of color, anybody else, a woman, they would have had him out of there. And that's what disturbs me, how his administration, it's getting worse every day. We have to vote and get him out of there. Now, somebody that I would like us to start prepping for that senator seat is Joanna McClinton.
Okay.
I don't know, her position. I think she's state rep, and I don't know if she can move from that office to the Senate seat. But
she can absolutely run.
Oh, that's right.
She can
we
run.
Can absolutely support her. And Solomon, I just wanted everybody to just sit down and pray for the city of Philadelphia, because these murders are getting on my last nerve. And something I do just to free my mind is just to look up at the sky and if the sun's out and just meditate and put on one of my favorite records, something to get me through. Everybody have a blessed day and take care.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Philadelphia has reached a grim milestone, 364 homicides. It's the deadliest year since 2007. We got to talk about that. Jeff Brown's going to be joining us a little bit later on to talk about Man Up PHL. We have been working on this issue, trying to get brothers resources, trying to get them employed, trying to mentor them and show them a better way. And, it's tough sledding, man, because you're really doing it one life at a time. You know, you're trying to affect somebody's trajectory, trying to affect which way they go, because we got a lot of young brothers, man, that could go either way. And we literally have to step in and try to figure out, how do we steer them in a different direction? How do we help them to do something different? And that's what we do. And so Jeff's going to be joining us a little bit later on to talk about that. But there are so many organizations, so many people working on this issue, man. We got to figure it out. We got to figure it out and recognize that, guess what? It's everyone's problem, especially in the black community. It's everybody's problem. These are all of our people. Don't be like, that's so-and-so's kid. Nah, they're your kid too, because guess what? If you don't step into their life, they might step into yours in a way that you don't want them to. Real rap. And so all of us have a role to play in stopping this violence. 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's go to Valerie from Southwest on line 1. Go ahead, Valerie.
God bless and good morning.
Good morning.
Solomon, you said everything right when you said, well, God's going to step in. Because he's in control. And when you say all that stuff every morning, you are really a blessed man. But you know what? You hit it on the nose this morning. Watch and see. All right. Everybody vote. Don't forget. Love y'all.
Love you back. Thank you so much. We appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with Dr. Elena McDonald, Dr. Delana Wardlaw, the twin docs. We got a whole lot to talk about with this coronavirus today. I need some real information, some truth. We're going to talk with them on the other side. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the up-and-coming election. Still concerned about COVID-19 and voting in person? Pennsylvania has you covered with mail-in ballots. Simply submit a completed ballot by mail. So long as you request that mail-in ballot between now and October 27th, go to votespa.com and apply for your mail-in ballot today. When your ballot arrives, read it carefully and follow the instructions to complete it and return it. You can also track and confirm that your County Board of Elections has received the mail-in ballot by going to votespa.com. For more information on how to vote in Pennsylvania, visit states.aarp.org/Pennsylvania. Vote early. WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the up-and-coming election. Stay informed and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com.
Have you heard about Penny? They make it easier than ever to get health coverage.
What if I'm self-employed?
Penny gets you covered.
Unemployed?
Penny gets you covered.
What about my family?
Penny gets them covered too.
But will this fit into my budget?
Penny can connect you to financial help to lower the cost.
Really? Where do I go?
Easy. Just go to PENNIE.com.
Support independent black media and join the 4WURD movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
The time is now to put an end to the chronic incompetence of Donald Trump and his League of Liars. Donald Trump makes a mockery of the institution of the presidency. He's polarized our country, and his dangerous policies must not continue. Joe Biden has the character, empathy, and experience to lead us through these challenging times. He helped lead the nation out of the 2008 financial crisis into the longest period of economic growth in our history, and he can do it again. As president, he will heal divisions and unite us around the shared values of justice. He'll create opportunities for quality education and good-paying jobs, and he'll build on the Affordable Care Act, not tear it down. While Donald Trump thinks coronavirus and climate change are a hoax, Joe Biden already has a coronavirus recovery plan and a strategy to create more jobs while also tackling the climate crisis. Vote for a president who will stand on the right side of history. Vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Paid for by Black PAC and Priorities USA Action. BlackPAC.com and PrioritiesUSAAction.org, which are responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Trump spends his time golfing, while COVID-19 hits the black community hard. It's not just wrong, it's immoral. We need Joe Biden. Joe takes COVID-19 seriously and understands the economic and health impact it's had on our community. Joe will listen to the medical experts, and he will protect Obamacare. Trump, he won't even wear a mask. Request a ballot now. Make a plan to vote. Our lives depend on it. Paid for by Ask Me People, which is responsible for the content of this ad. AskMePeople.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by Staples Stores, 95 southbound. That is busy through a construction zone. Cotman down through Bridge, jammed again just south of Bridge down through Girard. One big delay there. Pretty much northbound looks pretty good. Westbound Vine, that is busy 8th out through Brodigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound, jam University through 30th through construction. Further west around the curve to Conshohocken. Slow eastbound delays Boulevard through Spring Garden. 42 northbound, that is a jam ride this morning. Now approaching 55 to 295. An accident there off to the shoulder. 55 north jamming Deptford into 42. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens, all at amazing prices. This week at 25% off copies and prints for school like posters, worksheets, and schedules. Visit staples.com/school printing for coupon in-store only. Offer ends 10/31. Exclusions apply. Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're waking up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Good morning. Right now on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. So we got a whole lot to talk about with this novel coronavirus, and especially with it now ravaging the White House. And I'm not overstating that. You had the president and 30 people in his orbit, including his wife, now infected with this virus. And here to talk about the virus, as they do every week, Dr. Delana Wardlaw, Dr. Elena McDonald. They are both board-certified physicians, and they're twins. Good morning, doctors. How are you both?
Good morning, Solomon. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Dr. Wardlaw, we heard from you last week. So I'm gonna start with Dr. McDonald. What is the normal quarantine length for somebody who is infected with the novel coronavirus?
So you're talking about two different things, Solomon. Number one, if you are infected, you have tested positive, you are going into isolation. Mm-hmm. And your isolation is to last at least 10 days from the time that your symptoms have developed. Now, you go into quarantine if you have been tested and you're waiting for results to come back, or you have been directly exposed to someone who has tested positive. If you're in quarantine for at least 14 days. What is the difference? So because with you're going into quarantine for 14 days because it could take that long. It could take that long for symptoms to develop. So that's what we've learned over time. Okay. Because sometimes you may be exposed. Okay, you've been in a room with someone who tests positive. Now, you've been exposed, but you don't have any symptoms. Those symptoms may develop later on. That's why the directive is to quarantine for 14 days to allow time for those symptoms to develop. Once the 14 days has gone by, at this point in time, from what we know about COVID-19, then there's great confidence for saying, okay, now you can go back to your regular routine.
Mm-hmm. And once the symptoms do actually develop, you go into isolation for 10 days.
Yes, your isolation is from 10 days your isolation is at least 10 days from the start of symptoms. At least 10 days. Yes. Okay. Yes. We did not see that. Okay. We did not see that.
Okay. So the president went into the hospital. He had symptoms, right? And so a couple days later, he gets into a car with some Secret Service agents. Then a couple days after that, he walks out of the hospital, comes back to the White House. People got to fly him around, so he's around all these people. Dr. Wardlaw, is that in keeping with the normal protocol for what happens when you get COVID?
Absolutely not. I'm pointed. No. Again, he's still infectious. He is exposing people unnecessarily. I mean, he got into a car that is supposed to protect against biochemical warfare and all these other things. So and the windows were closed and people were in close quarters. I mean, that is just a great risk for exposure that was completely unnecessary. So that is not following protocol. Not at all following, not at all. And I'm not sure. It's rather dangerous at this point. I mean, it's just irresponsible. It's dangerous, and it's putting people's lives at risk for no reason.
And so, if in fact you are somebody, now we don't know the president's whole health history, but we do know that he's, 77? Something like that. He's overweight. We do know that, he eats a lot of red meat, specifically fast food. And so, not necessarily the picture of health. Is he somebody who would fit the profile of somebody who would be at serious risk for bad consequences, Dr. McDonald, from this disease?
Well, Solomon, simply from his age and the fact that he is classified as overweight or obese based on his body mass index, yes, he is at increased risk for complications. So yes, he is in that higher risk group.
Now, the medicines, the treatments, he's 74. So the treatments that he's gotten are not treatments that regular folks get. So, Dr. Wardlaw, can you walk us through what remdesivir is and what it does?
So remdesivir is an antiviral, and it decreases the viral load. It decreases the how much the virus can continue to replicate or to grow. So remdesivir, it lowers the amount of virus that is in your body. Now, again, it's not a cure, but it does lower, it does decrease the amount of time that a patient can spend in the hospital and can decrease the amount of symptoms that patients are experiencing. But it's reserved for patients who are significantly ill. It's not given to patients who are who have mild symptoms of coronavirus. It's given to hospitalized patients, but it is a antiviral that helps slow the replication of the virus.
So he's getting some other treatments as well, and I'm trying to find the name of them. But one of them is a treatment that has antibodies that have been, I guess, developed from other people who've already had it. What is that one called?
Yes. That's Vigeranine,
okay.
Which is the monoclonal antibodies that have been used. Of course, these research studies are done in the lab, and it has been shown to to have some good outcomes against coronavirus, and that also can help decrease the viral load level. But it is best used in response to a patient who has really not mounted a significant immune response. Again, when our body is trying to fight off of an infection, we want the body to mount an immune response. When the Vigeranine is being used, again, now Donald Trump has gotten this cocktail that no one else has gotten, this Vigeranine, remdesivir, and the dexamethasone. So this is not standard care. And again, it's still the Vigeranine is still in its investigational stage, but it is antibodies, monoclonal antibodies, 2 of them, that have been shown to have some effectiveness against the COVID virus.
Dr. McDonald, as you've seen the president, does he present in the same way that other people that you've seen who've actually had COVID? Does he look the same? Does his breathing look the same? I mean, what are you seeing when you see him? Dr. McDonald?
Solomon, I'm not sure where Dr. McDonald is, so I'll just step in here.
All right, go ahead, Dr. Wardlaw.
Okay, yes. So he does. When he comes out, sometimes his breathing, when he talks, he sometimes his breathing may be a little bit heavier than what we have seen it in the past. But here's the thing about coronavirus: you could be looking good and feeling good, and then you could just have a complete turnaround. So his symptoms and the way he looked can be deceiving. You know, and, you know, even though he's touting around, you know, saying that he is doing well and he's still the best that he's did in 20 years, we know that during this time phase, he's still not out of the woods, which his own doctors have admitted to. And I'm not sure why he's walking around the White House and getting off the airplane without a mask. But the symptoms can be deceiving. He could be walking around well, and his oxygen level could be 62 or could be very low, and that's how coronavirus presents. That's why the patients have, those who present in a moderate to severe, with moderate to severe symptoms, they have to be monitored very closely. And, of course, the president has the best of everything, and they will be monitoring him very closely. But, again, that's where we are with that, Solomon.
Okay.
And if I could just jump in here, Solomon.
Yes.
I think, you know, I'm not exactly sure what the purpose of yesterday was.
Yeah.
But I think we're in a very dangerous environment right now, because what we have done is the leader of the world has completely thrown science by the wayside, and he has told everyone on Twitter that don't let COVID run your life. Yeah. Don't be afraid of it. And he's saying this, and we've had 30 million people worldwide infected. You know, 1 million people have died worldwide. Over 200,000 people in the United States have died. So I think that for him to stand up there and try to paint the picture of health amidst this pandemic, and he has subsequently contracted it due to lack of following the recommendations that have been put out for the last 7 months, is unconscionable. It is. We're in uncharted territory, and it's highly disappointing.
And so what we have seen is the president say in that same statement that, you know, the drugs, that we have the best drugs in the world, and they're going to be approved very shortly. So where are we with the trials on specifically the drug with the antibodies in it? Where are we in the approval process for something like that?
So the approval process for the Geranine, that is still in between the level 2 and the stage 2 and stage 3 investigational stage. So we that is not readily available, and to be able to tout that medication to people who's not readily available to, again, that just provides a false sense of security. Again, with, you know, what he stated in that tweet. So again, they're not ready for distribution to common folks. You and I are definitely not going to get that if we go into the hospital, Solomon. So yes, and you know, and nor should we be expected to, because again, it has not gone through all the investigational stages for us to be able to get that medication. But again, the president is touting treatments that are not readily available. But again, he's the president of the United States, and he has access to that care, to that treatment.
What else should we know, Dr. McDonald, about what we're seeing and about what we need to do? Because it's all very confusing. You've got all of these people around the president who have tested positive for this virus. He's the only one out of all of them that you see walking around. So you know, what should we take out of this from a medical standpoint as the public about this virus?
So a couple of things we need to take away from this. Number one, this virus is deadly. It spreads very rapidly. They're up to, you know, several people who went to that White House event who were elbow to elbow, no mask on, who have since contracted the disease in the last 2 weeks. So what we have been saying for the last 6-7 months showed up right at the White House. So it just proved that this virus is just as powerful and deadly as it has been. So we have to continue to stay the course. We have to follow the scientists. We cannot follow the politicians here. We cannot follow the White House. We have to follow the data that's out there. So we still must continue to wear our masks. We must continue to social distance. We must continue to wash our hands. This virus does not discriminate. It got all the way to the White House. But one thing you did see is that the president, which this is to be expected, has access to the best of everything. Not everybody has that. So you have to continue to do your best job to protect yourself and your family.
All right. Yes, go ahead, Dr. Wardlaw.
I just want to say that I think that the president, he wants to just keep putting on this facade that, he wants to keep downplaying the virus, and this is a part of his way of downplaying the virus. But again, that is deadly because some people will hang on to his every word, and we just have to use our own common sense and follow the science, and please follow all the recommended guidelines.
Dr. McDonald, where can we find the two of you?
You can find us at Twin Sister Docs on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
All right. I want to thank you both for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you, Solomon. Stay safe.
Thank you, Solomon.
All right. Those are the Twin Sister Docs, Dr. Elena McDonald, Dr. Delana Wardlaw. You can find them on social media at Twin Sister Docs. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Weather and traffic to keep you informed for your morning commute on Wake Up with Word. Weekdays 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. hosted by Solomon Jones. Right here on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Always Best Care is a great place to work. Flexibility,
leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity,
inclusion,
compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media.
We've all adjusted our daily routines in these unprecedented times. And for many of us, voting at our polling place in November is a routine that means so much. But did you know that every Pennsylvania voter can vote by mail from home this year? Whether you're a Pennsylvania senior, essential worker, or simply someone who needs more flexibility to vote within a challenging schedule, voting by mail allows you to make your voice heard at the ballot box on your schedule while protecting your family's health. You can turn your mailbox into a ballot box by simply visiting votespa.com on your computer or any mobile device to request your mail-in ballot. With November 3rd around the corner, it's more important than ever to request your mail-in ballot today. It's simple, secure, convenient, and safe. This year, you shouldn't have to choose between your vote and your health. We're all in this together, and voting by mail gives you the power to make your voice heard. So sign up at votespa.com or return your mail-in ballot application to your county election office today. Paid for by Power Interfaith.
He's back.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
In times like these, we have to stay connected.
At a brand new time, Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
I'm excited that Keeping It Real returns to WURD.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight. This program is pre-recorded. No phone calls, please.
Keep it locked to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. WURDradio.com.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent black media. It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. We're taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. I'm so grateful
for the twin doctors, Dr. Elena McDonald and Dr. Delana Wardlaw. We appreciate them so much because throughout this whole crisis, them and, of course, Dr. Eli Stanford and so many others have come on these airwaves and given you real information about what's going on, about what's happening with this virus, from real medical doctors, board-certified physicians. We appreciate that because in an age and in a time where we are getting so much misinformation from the very halls of power in this country, we need the real truth to keep us sane. We really do. It is so important for us to have facts. And I know I talk about that a lot. I talk about making sure that we have the right information a lot because for lack of knowledge, our people perish. We need to understand what is going on around us. And we need to understand the facts of it so that when somebody is standing up lying to us, when somebody is trying to redirect us, when somebody is trying to run game on us, we understand what the truth is and can decipher fact from fiction. Like, it's important for us to know what's going on around us. And that is why we make sure that we bring you people who can bring you truth. So we appreciate Dr. Wardlaw, Dr. McDonald, Dr. Eli Stanford, so many others who have joined us on these airwaves to tell you the truth about what is going on with this virus. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning show. Of course, we are also getting comments on Facebook as we do every morning, hundreds of them, and we want to read a few. So, Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So we have a few folks weighing in. Cheryl Brown, good morning to you. Looks like Roxanne Jones tuned in. We'll be talking with you a little bit later. Geraldine Mayfield, good morning to you. And Linda Pierce is saying, thanks, Solomon. And she also said, twin sister docs are awesome. They help me personally. So that's a comment from her. Dorisha K. Parker saying, good morning, Solomon and Queen Kawesa and Word 900 family. And also, we have Mary Melly Briggs. Russian roulette is all he has played with American life, but you got evangelist preachers telling their people he was sent to save them. Rebirth of Jim Jones. So that's another comment that we have here as well. And then we also have Malcolm White saying valuable information as well. And then also, just trying to pull it all up here. Shalada C.A. Sankofa, good morning to you also. And switching over, Nikki Carter is in reference to Trump. She's saying, the tapes of his sister breaking him down to, I might be referring to Mary Trump, I'm not sure. She said he is dangerous, but he's getting the job done. Speaking to the base, she just doesn't understand why they believe him. This is from his sister. I believe you might be referring to Mary Trump, who I think is his niece. But yeah, definitely. She's been, saying, that he's the worst kind of human being on the planet. So, yeah. And then Rebecca Truxon, good morning to you as well. And then also, Sandra Fields is talking about granddaughter. When we were talking earlier about Daniel Cameron, the woman who he married is not related to Mitch McConnell. I will put a link in the Facebook feed here so that people can see, some of our sources as well. And then lastly, I see Emily Stewart. A lot of folks go off of what is heard and not what is known, just in regards to some of the comments that folks have been saying. So, yep, those are comments here on Facebook.
All right, so we want to hear from you. You can certainly give us a call at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. We are going to go to the phone lines, and we're going to talk to our first caller. Wes from Mount Airy is on line one. Go ahead, Wes.
Hey, Solomon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You're starting to see the final form of the insanity. I mean, because let's think about it. This is a party that told you from the beginning this is the flu. Even when you go local to state representatives, remember a couple of months ago there was a state representative that had got coronavirus, Republican, and he didn't tell anybody. And there was a Democratic state legislator that went on Facebook and just started snapping. This is not something that's just Donald Trump. And the irony of it for me is that you have a man that's railing against state-sponsored health care, but go into a state-sponsored hospital. And then
you better preach.
And then say it's the best medicine, it's the best care that he's gotten.
Yeah.
But the same man don't want to give it to you. And then one of them, Tillis, from I think it's South Carolina. The irony with him is that his constituent has called his office, and his rep sat there and she was like, "Look, I have cancer and I really need you to fight for health care."
Yeah.
His constituent said, "Yo, you need to fend for yourself. You know, just because you want health care, I want a car." So it's like you have to look at it. These are the people that you're up against, and they're not worrying about if you get sick. And even if the medicine comes through, it's not a guarantee you're going to be able to afford it.
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee that your health coverage is going to cover all of it. Let's say it's let's say it's like $20,000, and you have to keep using it. Your health coverage is not going to cover it, so now you're in debt. Then that's going to be considered a pre-existing condition. The military already said that if you have coronavirus, they're not taking you in. So even young kids who get coronavirus, it's not a guarantee. If they can't go to college or get a good job, they can't go to the military because a lot of people use the military as a last resort. So it's like it's so much bigger when it comes to this, and then the insanity of the fact that he's standing there just to promote his lie and just to promote the fact that they've been preaching it's not that big of a deal. To stand in front of people and sit there and say I am okay when you know he's not. It's just a final form of the insanity, and the crazy part about it, there's people that's eating it up because when they look at him, they still see the guy from The Apprentice.
I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Sherry from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Sherry.
Good morning, Solomon. Thanks for picking up my call.
You're welcome.
Solomon, no one should listen to this buffoon, you know, and he's signing up there exhibiting leadership, I'm a leader. You can barely breathe, man. You're standing up there trying to even catch your breath. I mean, I read books about other leaders, and he's definitely not one of them, okay? And one thing, because a leader does not put other people's lives at risk.
Yeah.
You know, I'm worried about those people that work in the White House. You know, those black men and women, and they're not, some of them are not young.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
Know, catching this virus. Yeah, they're spewing droplets of this virus. And I'm worried about those people because they have to feed their family. They have family at home, probably have underlying diseases. And he knows, you know, blacks are 2 or 3 times likely to die from this virus. This man is just completely reckless behavior. And please, people don't even listen to this man. He has over 20 personnel, nurses and doctors to take care of him. He has the best health care given to him for free, by the way, because he's not paying taxes. So don't be an idiot to listen to this guy, or don't be afraid of the coronavirus. Don't let it put you down. Don't let it dominate you. Those people that die, it's pretty much telling them that, they'll let this virus dominate them. What kind of nonsense is that? Solomon, this guy, man, needs to go. Oh, by the way, when he leaves, they need to clean that whole entire White House and disinfect it and remove everything from that White House because he already infected that whole place. Thank you, Solomon, for picking up my call.
All right, thanks for your call this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Here's what I need you to know. You still need to do everything that you can to protect yourself from this virus. That means wearing a mask. That means keeping social distance. That means washing your hands often. It means using hand sanitizer when you can't get to a place where you can wash your hands. It means, just being careful. It means not pretending that this thing is not real. 210,000 Americans are dead from this virus. And we are at a point now where people whose families have been affected are angry and they're speaking out. And many of them are saying that, look, it's a slap in the face to have the president going around and pretending that this thing is not serious, that it's not real, that it's something that, poof, you're better in 3 days. Well, I guess you are if you're getting treatments that nobody else has access to. It's really it's something that we have to keep in the forefront of our minds, especially in the black community. Where we have our folks dying disproportionately from this thing. Wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance, keep your life. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. The other thing, of course, that's in the news that we really have to pay attention to, 364 homicides in the city of Philadelphia. It is the highest homicide rate in the city of Philadelphia since 2007. That's 13 years. What are we going to do about it? I know what we're doing through Man Up PHL, working with brothers, really one life at a time, trying to impact them, move them in a different direction, direct them to jobs and other opportunities, give them mentors to walk with them to go through that. But there are so many approaches and so many people doing this work. How do we stop the murders in our community? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. So what are they saying this morning, Kuwaisa, on Facebook? You can, of course, weigh in at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD, and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show.
So quite a few folks have actually shared the feed, so thank you so very much. We appreciate that. Phyllis Williams is saying, yes, it's so sad and hurtful to the families who lost loved ones and also to those who have it. And Gail Robinson says 45 has stock in some of the drugs he was supposedly had taken to help profit from being deceitful and disingenuous. And so that's another comment that we have. Nikki Carter was actually saying a little bit, I lost it. Oh, it's gone. All right, never mind. So let me go and try to see if I screenshot it. Nope, I lost it. Well, that's it. That's what we have.
All right, so that's what we have. I mean, it's there's so much going on. And you know what? One of the questions I have is, and we talked about this yesterday. So even as we go through all of this madness, right, you try to maintain a sense of normalcy, Kuwaisa. What are we going to do for Thanksgiving? That's the question. You know what I mean? Y'all talk about all that other stuff. Look, my mother, Melanie's mother, they are the queens of Thanksgiving. My mother, Carolyn Jones, my Melanie's mother, Juanita Bryant, they are the queens of Thanksgiving, and Levita is right there on their coattails. And so the question is, what are we going to do for Thanksgiving? Now, y'all talk about this virus and the election and all this other stuff. What are we going to do for Thanksgiving? That's the question. Like, are we going to socially distance? Are we going to isolate? Are we going to not gather as a family? Like, what do we do? What are y'all going to do? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Kuwaisa, have you thought about it?
We started to, we have actually had about 2 conversations. We're trying to figure out, like, are we staying in? Are we, going hanging out with family? Who's kind of cooking what? And I don't eat as much as I used to, but I still get really excited for Thanksgiving. Yeah. So I just really want some macaroni and cheese.
How you gonna eat it through your mask?
I know. I'm gonna make a plate and then go in a corner and just sit there and eat. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but yeah, we have been talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not too soon. It's
no,
really
it's
what? It's less than 2 months away.
Mm-hmm. So first we got the election, Then we got Thanksgiving. I want to know what y'all going to do. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. I'm going to go to the phone lines and talk to Dottie from Springfield on line 2. Go ahead, Dottie.
Hi, Solomon. Ooh, this is first-time caller.
Well, thank you so much for calling.
I have been listening to you for many a year.
Thank you.
And I just want to say how my eyes really changed with all of the Black Lives Matter and everything. It wasn't until I was able to see my white privilege that I was able to now see the lack of privilege. I always loved the black community, but I never had that clarity before. And I just want to say about all this with Donald Trump, with the mask and everything. I just want to say I really feel that the tune should really change, and I'm not speaking to you. I hope that other communities also hear this, that it is shame on the people that are following him. Shame on those Secret Servicemen that got into the car. They are adults. They are responsible for their life. And shame on those people that are following this man. We know he's foolish. We know he's a fool. Well, you're a fool, too, to follow him and get in a vehicle with him. You're also a fool for following what he's saying about this medicine. I tell you, because I didn't see my white privilege, I grew up in a tough situation, very tough. But I didn't have reality in me because I just was running after whatever. I didn't have, and it was my husband that said, God, look at God gave you a mind. Use your mind. And if I don't see anything in the black community, the reality based in your community is just amazing, you know. And this is what I've learned through the years and through Black Lives Matter. You know, I have a voice in me, and it's reality based. And then if it doesn't work, we give it over. We give it over to our higher power, our God, Jesus. But shame on them. They're adults. They're telling us, fend for yourself. You're an adult. Take care of the virus yourself.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, what a fool.
Yeah, it's
to get
crazy.
into a car.
Well, I think the Secret Service agents, you know, I feel for them because I feel like they didn't really have a choice. Like, it's your job.
True.
So it's your job to protect them.
True.
Okay.
They did. They said, Solomon, they said, this is where the lack is. When we don't take the step and stand up, they're all following. They volunteered. They volunteered. That's what they said. And I'm not just talking Secret Service. I'm talking all this following is, and they call themselves intelligent Ivy League school educated.
Yeah. We got to go, but I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We got to go to break. We're a little bit over. On the other side, we're going to continue to take your calls. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
The WURD Environmental Justice Summit, Indigenous Peoples Day, Monday, October 12th from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. In recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day, WURD and WURD Radio will host an Environmental Justice Summit to explore topics at the intersection of Black and Indigenous rights, income, and the environment. This day-long multimedia, virtual, and on-air event will bring together artists, thought leaders, and environmental justice advocates for groundbreaking conversations about climate change, land reclamation, water quality, and how it all converges villages in the Philadelphia region and beyond. It's the WURD Environmental Justice Summit. Indigenous Peoples Day. Monday, October 12th from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. Exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook. Presented in partnership with Bartram's Garden and from the Source Reporting Collaborative. The WURD Environmental Justice Summit is sponsored by PICO and the Alliance for Watershed Education and supported by the Lenfest Institute and the William Penn Foundation. No fear, just facts. This is WURD, independent black media.
COVID-19 impacted a lot of things this year, including regular vaccination appointments. Vaccines help protect you and everyone around you, especially during flu season. Schedule an appointment with your healthcare provider today to make sure you and your children are vaccinated. Vaccines keep us safe, and they work. Skip the flu this year. Get your vaccination today. Let's stay protected together. For more information, visit health.pa.gov, paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by Staples Stores. Pretty busy ride in New Jersey. It's 42 northbound. You're going to find that at a jam this morning. Lower Landing Road, 295 accident there off to the shoulder. 55 jam northbound Deptford into 42. Down 95 southbound. You're jamming there. Generally heavy from Common Avenue all the way down through Girard. Northbound, no major issues. Westbound fine. That's busy. 8th out the Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Eastbound delays off the Schuylkill through Broad Street. Schuylkill westbound. You're jam University through 30th through construction. Busy again around the curve to Conshohocken. Eastbound delays in the area of 202 because of an accident, and the boulevard in through Spring Garden. Staples helps your business from office essentials to health essentials, all at amazing prices. This week at $15 off posters or yard signs when you spend $75 or more. Ends 10/31. Exclusions apply. Limit 1 per customer. See store or staples.com/signage for details. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. So, of course, we have reached a grim milestone in the city of Philadelphia, 364 murders as of Monday. It's the most since 2007. Of course, we are working on that issue through Man Up PHL. Every Tuesday, we do our mentoring sessions online. We've had to move online from these in-person meetings that we were doing because of COVID. But mentoring brothers really one at a time, one life at a time. And, of course, we're not the only ones working on this. You have many people working on this issue, but it is not a one-size-fits-all solution. And so we want to hear from you, your solutions on this issue of gun violence in our community. Jeff Brown's going to be joining us a little bit later on to talk about Man Up PHL and what we are doing, especially and specifically around the issue of employment for those who are at risk of being victims or perpetrators of this gun violence. And so we're looking forward to talking to him at 9:40. But right now we want to talk to you about that, and of course about the president. He has returned to the White House after 3 days in the hospital. He has a battery of treatments that he has gotten. We talked with Dr. Delana Wardlaw and Dr. Elena McDonald about that a little bit earlier. But none of that means that we don't do what we have to do to safeguard our own health. Wear your mask, keep your distance, wash your hands, and be wise when you are dealing with this virus that has killed 210,000 Americans. We want to hear from you about that. And, of course, Kuwait, to the big question. The big question, what we going to do for Thanksgiving? What are we going to do for Thanksgiving? Forget all this world-changing stuff, right, for a minute. And look, what y'all doing, because I need your advice. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about. On this morning show, Louise from Center City is on line 1. Go ahead, Louise.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I know I'm not the only one who feels like this, that Trump is going to possibly steal the election. But then I thought that God is saying, okay, enough is enough. It is time for me to step in because this guy is going entirely too far. And also I wanted to say, I don't know if you ever rode around in Center City where they have these food, alcohol establishments where they not only have the chairs and tables in front of their business, like around 22nd and Spruce, for instance, they got tables and chairs all the way down about 3 or 4 or 5 houses. So now you sitting in your living room. You can't sit on your step because you're sitting right there facing the people eating with no mask. You know, of course you can't wear a mask when you eat. But isn't that something? Have you ever noticed that? Tables in front. They have tables all in front of people's houses and stuff.
Who has tables in front of people's houses? Oh, down Center City?
Yeah, tables and chairs. Where they eat and drink and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Tables in front of people's houses. All the way down the block. You know what I'm saying? They got to come out of their house and see this. Or sit in the living room and see this, you know. I don't know if you ever noticed that, though, but I live in Center City, and I jog all the way around Center City, and I see it all the time.
Oh, wow.
That's all I really wanted to say.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. I got to look a little bit more closely. Maybe I'll drive through Center City today just to see what's going on. So thank you for that. Let's go to Zaire from West Oak Lane on line 2. Go ahead, Zaire.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm calling to address the issue of gun violence in Philadelphia.
Yes.
One of the things that really helped me out was being a part of Man Up PA.
Thank you.
And listen to the young brothers. But also observing on my own. You know, like when you go to a doctor and they trying to diagnose what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And you look in the black community, you know, you have poverty, you have broken homes, you have alcohol, you have mental issues.
Yeah.
So until we address those issues one at a time, which seems like we were doing that, man, a PHL, it'll continue to grow.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because these brothers, first thing they say, look, I need a job.
Yep.
And really, what I got out of it, they come and they talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, you break it down talking to other men. And you look at them, you feel like, wow, these brothers just need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
You know, lead them in a direction other than those their own peers who don't know. So until we address those issues, unfortunately, it's going to continue to spiral.
I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio, and thank you so much for your call. Let's go to Derek from North Philly on line 3. Go ahead, Derek.
Good morning, Brother Solomon.
Good
Love,
morning.
peace, blessings, and prosperity.
Same to you.
Thank you. Solomon, my opinion is, as far as gun violence in the city is, right now, my question is that have anybody seen the police chief, and how close does the police department work with Man Up? The other thing I wanted to comment on was that I watched Joe Biden in this town hall talk yesterday. I thought he handled himself really well. And I think he's on the move now. Maybe he needed some rest or whatever it took, but I'm seeing the road that he's on, and I'm liking it. I'm enthusiastic. And the other thing I want to say, Solomon, is that have you heard the new Big Daddy Kane song, Enough?
No.
It's a smash, man. He's talking about, I heard you say earlier about real rap. And do yourself this favor, man, because it's really like that. He's talking about the current events and things that's taking place with real musicians behind him playing. And the sound just sounds super. It sounds great. And as far as lyrically, he hasn't missed a step. I'm just a fan, and I like good music, and I could tell that you like good music too through your commercial stuff like that, brother. So I'm just trying to put you on something. One other thing I want to put you on musically in the conversation. Gil Scott-Heron had an album out called 1980. He had a song on there called Push Comes to Shove. Them two songs, Solomon, put them in your repertoire and thank me later, okay, brother?
All right, man. Thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. 215-634-8065, of course, is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. And let us know where you are on this conversation that we're having this morning around the novel coronavirus, around the gun violence in the city of Philadelphia, and, of course, around what y'all going to do for Thanksgiving. I want to hear from you, 215-634-8065. And, of course, you can also weigh in on Facebook at 4WURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So one comment that I'm seeing here from Nikki Carter saying, I just saw an interview with a former Secret Service agent. He said they wouldn't decline a job. They are trained to lay their lives down for the president for the rest of his life. Then he said if one may have an issue and doesn't want to go, they will be replaced with a new agent. However, the agents are fairly young. It's competitive and no one's going to do that. It's crazy, shaking my head. Kathy Ziegler Fuller says Thanksgiving and Christmas is canceled. And then good morning to C. Ruger and Kathy Ziegler Fuller. Yes, good morning to you as well. Deborah Dorn Carter, Thanksgiving. Solomon, I will properly cook a turkey in my smoker and mac and cheese, or maybe I'll fry my turkey. So that's another comment. And Roxanne Jones weighs in saying the reason we sometimes lack unity is because we are too quick to criticize and rip one another apart. I don't know any black folks who celebrate Columbus's massacre on Thanksgiving. Black folk I know use the day to show their gratitude for family and food on the table. We show our love through our food just as our ancestors have always done. And this year, with so much pain in our lives, black folk need a moment to stop, break bread, and share love with one another. And if we use Thanksgiving for that day, I'm all for it. I'm all for that comment, Roxanne. I appreciate that, and I think that you're right. Zen Motley, good morning to you as well. And Kimberly Wright, good morning to you also. And then we have one more comment here. Mish Pugh, valuing the lives of others, self-worth, maturity, conflict resolution, mental resources, and jobs and financial stability will help lessen the violence. So those are just a few more comments that we have here on our Facebook page.
So I want to hear from you, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. So here's what I'm thinking. We had a barbecue over the summer, right? We went to my mother's. It was Melanie's suggestion. So we went to my mother's, and, you know, we have, you know, some elders in our family, and so people wore masks. People remained socially distant. And my mother, who really should be a caterer, right, served everything in individual containers. So everybody had individual containers for their food. Everybody had individual plasticware. Everybody had individual napkins, plates, and, you know, everything. And so, you know, I think maybe we have to use that kind of creativity for Thanksgiving. I did the same thing at Thanksgiving. So, Mother's Day. So we got food for everybody. And got it from one of our favorite restaurants, Relish, and we got that food, and I put it in individual packages for everybody and delivered it to them, you know, with some roses and, you know, for Mother's Day. So, like, I think we have to be creative. We have to be creative around Thanksgiving, because they ain't no, what somebody say, cancel Thanksgiving and Christmas, man, you out your mind. Nah, we ain't doing that. But I do think we have to be creative around how we do it, Kawesa. So are your creative juices flowing? Are you thinking about how to be creative around how we do things? Because we ain't canceling nothing. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, food, no, we don't cancel food in our household. We just, you know, we got to figure out a way around it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, maybe we just, like you did, just have some, you know, some containers and just, you know, spoon it out, and then, you know, make one person
That's right.
in charge, a servant, because you can't get everybody up in there putting their grubby hands in there and trying to grab food. No. 1 or 2 people. Get their gloves on, make sure your hands are clean. The people you trust, the people are clean, and then they can dish out the food, and y'all can, go in your separate corners and eat your food, and we can yell across the room or whatever you got to do. This food good, Mom. Yeah, that's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do, because ain't no whole lot of cancel. What? That's blasphemy. What do you mean? 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Of course, we're also talking about the president's theatrics because I can't describe it as anything else but that. The president comes back to the White House after being in the hospital for 3 days with COVID and getting, experimental treatments that aren't available to the rest of us. He comes back to the White House and does this theatrical walk, over the lawn, and then gets up on the balcony and rips off his mask. And, it just seems like, it's theatrics. It's not. It's like staged. It's not genuine. You know what I mean? And, after a while, theatrics ain't going to get it. We need you running the country. After a while, we need you actually doing your job. After a while, we need you off Twitter. After a while, we need you actually doing some stuff. You sitting up in the hospital, Kawesa, like he's signing papers. Who going to touch those papers that you sign, right, after you leave out of the doggone hospital with COVID? You're signing papers with nothing on them. It's theatrics. What are you doing? It's crazy. So we're going to go to break. We're going to talk about it on the other side of this break. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations, because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
According to the radical left, Kathy Barnett isn't supposed to exist, let alone be a candidate for United States Congress. See, Kathy Barnett is a black woman and a conservative. She spent 10 years in the Armed Forces Reserves. Kathy doesn't fit the victimhood mentality the left is selling. She grew up poor, and despite the odds against her, she built a good life. She loves America, and that's why she's running for Congress. Kathy Barnett not only exists, she lives the American dream.
I'm Kathy Barnett, and I approve this message.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to WURD Radio.
Independent Black Media.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
It's Health and Wellness Week with Tiffany Bacon, now through Thursday on WURD Radio. Tonight, join Tiffany for a conversation on cancer as she explores breast and colon cancer and how they affect the Black community. Health and Wellness Week. This Monday through Thursday from 7 till 9 p.m. Hosted by Tiffany Bacon. Exclusively on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com, the WURD Radio app, and watch live on WURD TV via Facebook.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We're talking about a number of things on this morning show. The president's COVID diagnosis and him returning miraculously from the hospital in 3 days, ripping off his mask on the balcony of the White House. And really this theatrical move that really seems designed to portray an image. And it's like, dude, you know, the time for images is over. It's 210,000 people dead. You know what I mean? Like, the images, like, we don't need imagery right now. We really do need real leadership. And that's not a political statement. That is a human statement. We need help, you know. And given that you have had, according to your doctors and your spokespeople, you know, treatment that is not available for the rest of us, and then want to tell us don't be afraid of COVID when we have family members and friends, especially in the black community, who've died from this or have been gravely ill from this. I think it's a slap in the face. I do. You know, we don't have the same access that you do. We don't have the same treatments that you do. We don't have any of those things. And for you to act like all of us can be treated in the way that you were, I think is really irresponsible. I do. You know, so I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. If you're in the black community, you know somebody who's had this thing. 1 in 1,000 black people have died from COVID in America. We know somebody who's had it, who's died from it, who's been gravely ill, and you're going to tell us, oh, don't be afraid of COVID. Don't be. Dude, we need leadership right now, not this fake theatrics. Like, the time for that is over. For real. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. The other thing that is happening, of course, is that we have reached a grim milestone in the city of Philadelphia, 364 homicides as of yesterday. It's the most since 2007. What do we do about that? We want to hear from you. Give us a call. 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's go to Gail from the Northeast on line 1. Go ahead, Gail.
Good morning, Solomon and Carissa.
Good morning.
I'm looking at this man. He is trying to give one of the best performances ever because this whole thing is nothing but hoodwinking and bamboozling the public into thinking, well, if you take this, it'll work for you just like me, and we're going to sell it to you at this probably from a drug manufacturer, and it's going to be awfully costly. But he doesn't really care about the people. It's just all about him and the game that he's continually playing on the people. And we just have to wake up. And we look at how the murder rate has really escalated, and you have people that are grieving. People are grieving, and we're in this manufactured state of twilight because he didn't do what he needed to do. And you have people that are carrying on. The other day, I'm looking at guys in cars racing around in the cars. Then they stop, and they're throwing eggs at each other in cars and pulling out fire extinguishers. And that's, you know, it's crazy, and it's sad because there's so much pent-up energy. They don't know where to put it. For God forbid if they had fire extinguishers and not guns. But the bottom line is people are crying out. They're crying out, and they're taking it out on each other unnecessarily because they don't know what to do. And it's got to be an end somewhere. We got to get him out, and people have to vote because we're in a state of crisis and chaos. And it's like never ending with him and his followers to keep streaming and the news people just covering this nonsense day in and day out. You can't watch TV unless you watch the news or cable channels because you don't want to see them. Thank you, Solomon.
All right, I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Renee from West Oak Lane on line 2. Go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, hello, Solomon.
How you doing?
Good morning. I just want to say this is a man with, like a lot of other people, he has a state of mind. How he deals with this virus is that he don't deal with it. He has a state of mind where he doesn't want to deal with the reality of the danger of this virus, and a lot of other people have that same type of mental mentality. That's why you have a lot of people having events without wearing masks and not doing the social distance. It's definitely a mental thing. Also, I wanted to get into the thing of him. He's the type of person, he is destruction and manipulation to capture people, and people that have that same type of mental state are actually going to gravitate towards him. Also, I wanted to get into the thing of what you were saying about Thanksgiving. Like you said, we have to be creative.
Yeah.
You have like an outdoor space or something like that. Like at Penn's Landing, they have it situated where they have the fire pit outdoors and stuff like that, which everybody doesn't have that space, but that's just an idea, food for thought thing. And we just have to keep our minds straight on voting. Another thing, I don't think Joe Biden should back down on his opinions about the president because him and his wife have COVID. I think Joe Biden should stay on track with that. Him and Kamala should stay on track with that and don't, hold back. And we, the people, shouldn't hold back on how we feel about the situation of this president mental state and his followers. We should really get out there and vote and do all we can to vote him out and stay on track.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it is 215-634-8065. Let's go to Philip from West Philly on line 3. Go ahead, Philip.
Good morning, Solomon. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, well, I mean, I just, look, what can you say about number 45, you know? Unfortunately, it is what it is. I mean, but I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, to tell the American public, don't fear a virus that has killed 210,000 people. I mean, that is crazy. I mean, this just clearly shows, that his agenda is all about himself. He doesn't really care about the people. And look, my message to the American people is listen to the doctors and the scientists. Do not listen to this crazy nut that's in the White House because if you do, unfortunately, it can cost you your life.
Yeah.
And yes, as far as the violence in the city, it's really out of control. Now police and adding more police and stuff. Now we've been doing that forever, but it's a problem you cannot police yourself out of. It's going to take a whole community effort along with local and state government. Doing the right things, investing in things such as education and so forth, and trying to aggressively tackle the problem of poverty. That's what's going to, reduce the crime and violence in this city.
I agree. And I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Rebecca from Springfield on line 1. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Good morning. Hey, Solomon. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I just wanted to say one thing. All the stuff they're saying, I already know that. I'm not going there. But I voted yesterday. I live in Upper Darby, and let me tell you, it was really an easy thing to do. And I'll tell anybody, I think it's really good because I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, if I wanted to go in or not. But it was really nice, and it was easy. And I think that's a good thing to do it early. And then it's done, especially for older people that can't get out, and then people can take them. But it was really a very, very easy transition, okay?
All right.
I think it's a good thing.
All right, I hear you. And I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Denise from Mount Airy on line 4. Go ahead, Denise.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
And Lisa. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Great. So I'm just thinking with this gun violence in Philadelphia, and I just think, is there there a way that maybe we can somehow in our community, we can organize, have some type of citizen, I don't know, maybe there already is, and I'm just not in the loop because I work a lot. But I would like to be a part of something and maybe to come up with a solution to deal with the situation from the root causes of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is in my mind, and I could be off base on this, but I just think there's a root issue of what we also need to deal with what's going on with this violence. I mean, I just don't think that this is normal. Something needs to change, and we need to come up with a way to help ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to reach within ourselves and do that. I just feel like we can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, you can always go to manupphl.org and volunteer.
What is it?
We need volunteers. Manupphl.org. Manupphl.org. We actually need volunteers for our care team to reach out to brothers, do intake assessments on them, work with our mentors to connect them to resources. So if you want to do that, you can certainly do that.
I would love to do that.
All right. Manupphl.org. Sign up as a volunteer. We'll have somebody reach out to you.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Let's go to Diane from South Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Diane.
Solomon, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the WURD family, the listeners. I remember years ago when they used to have Def Comedy, they used to come on HBO, and Chris Rock came on there and made a statement about guns. He said if guns cost $1 million a bullet, maybe that will stop the crime. But at this point, I don't even think that will work. We had a shooting at Lowe's yesterday. I heard about it. Or the bus.
Yes.
A woman from Home Depot mentioned it. Then we had another shooting of a young man at 22nd and Jackson, I think it was. Here's two men, well, at least one, that will never know what it is to graduate from high school, go on his prom, go to college, be a father, be a strong black man in the community. Somebody took him down. This is so much out of control. And then we have to deal with the unnecessary shenanigans, the nerve of him to come. Didn't I tell you? Listen, he's off the rack. It's time for him to go. I don't know how we're going to do it, but besides, we got to vote to the third power like we're doing algebra, okay?
Yeah.
We got to get him out of there. Oh, my God. It's getting worse each day.
Yeah, it is.
Solomon, you are our voice of Philadelphia. I told you that about 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm standing by my word. The information you give to us opens our eyes, opens our ears, and let us see what we need to see, and let us hear what we need to hear. WURD, Solomon, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane.
I'm going to make sure that everything, when Sugar Lady's using more words, what she's doing right now, like stop and go and all this stuff, I'm going to make sure she says WURD, okay?
Love it. Love it. Thanks, Diane. We appreciate you as always. Let's go to Ed from Willingboro on line 1. Go ahead, Ed.
Oh, yeah, look, now, I know, the killing is bad if it's black people, if it's cops. Did you hear about this incident down in Texas where this 31-year-old black man was this cop killed the guy? The Texas Rangers, they brought charges up on this cop already, so they got him in custody, though. The guy was breaking up a fight.
Yeah.
And now, for some odd reason, the cop tased him. That didn't work, so I guess that was an excuse for him to kill the guy. All he did was broke up a fight, and he was walking away. You can read about it. His name was John Price.
Yeah.
Read about that one when you get a chance. Now, what I want to get to is Biden and Kamala.
Yes.
Now, Biden and Clinton passed this 94 bill, which really hurt blacks, for petty crimes, and Kamala actually put it to use, Solomon.
Yeah, well, let me just
half a joint.
Let me just say this, that in 1994, and you were around in 1994, I was around in 1994. You're talking about 300-some murders now. In 1994 and around that time, you were talking 400 or 500 murders in the city of Philadelphia and in cities around the country. And one of the things that happened, if you remember, is that black folks went to the government and was like, look, we need more cops. We need help in our communities. People are dying. This crack thing is crazy. People are killing each other.
Yeah.
People are stealing from each other. We need help. We asked for some of that. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, the consequences of it are right. But what I'm saying is that if we're going to remember the history, and again, we lived through that history. I remember it, right? You know, I was part of the problem.
Okay.
And so I think that we have to put that in some context when we're talking about that 1994 crime bill. The other thing we need to talk about is the fact that within that crime bill, and I'm not making any excuses for it, because, you know, what happened was mass incarceration. But I think that the other thing that's in that crime bill is these consent decrees that go after these police departments, consent decrees that Donald Trump has quietly taken away for the 14 police departments that have agreed to change their racist ways under the Obama administration. So I just want to add that context. But go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, but crack came out, what, 85? And the bill 94. Look, I don't mind the crime bill as long as it's fair. We need to see the statistics of how many young white boys were jailed for 3-4 months for half a joint or just having marijuana seeds. That's the kind of nonsense Kamala was doing out there.
Her name is Kamala.
It don't make a difference who's in the White House.
Yeah, her name is Kamala. And I think, and I hear you, and, you know, I asked her about, you know, what y'all gonna do for the black community. You can listen to that interview on WRDradio.com. We ain't cutting no slack, no breaks. And we hope to talk to Joe Biden very soon. So we're looking forward to that as well. But, you know, this is 2020, man. And we can't keep talking about, you know, 1994 when it's 2020. You know, that's my view. I think we got to talk about certainly what happened in the past, but we got to talk about what's happening now. Our folks are dying now. What we going to do now? That's my question. Would you rather have a madman ripping off a mask when he got COVID, or would you rather have somebody with some sense? That's my question. We're going to go to break. On the other side, it's Roxanne Jones. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Legal information, black history, hip-hop, and much more. It's the Radio Courtroom with attorney Michael Cord every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. right here on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Streaming live at WURDradio.com and on the WURD Radio app.
New Voices for Reproductive Justice is registering black women and their families in Philly to vote. The general election is on November 3rd. You can register to vote online at rock.vote/New Voices. That's rock.vote/New Voices. The deadline to register is October 19th. If you need assistance registering to vote, visit newvoicesrj.org.
Are you hungry today? Have your taste buds been sufficiently pampered? Call Eatable Delights for succulent and juicy turkey wings, no-filler crab cakes, or tender smoky beef ribs. You can pick up curbside or get delivery in Philadelphia, Montgomery, South Jersey, Delaware, and Bucks County. Call 215-236-3900 or stop by 1540 Wadsworth Avenue. That's 215-236-3900, because even your taste buds deserve pampering. And tell them Solomon Jones sent you.
As a business owner, hiring and developing people from the community that your company serves is one of the best ways to show commitment to that community. Let WURD Radio help with Livelihood, our new initiative that connects Philadelphians with companies like yours. We'll feature your business, open employment opportunities, and resources to connect your company with talent and ensure that you reach your target demographic. To learn more about how Livelihood can help you build your team, visit wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
Home of the Happy Hour. With Sincerely Sarita. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Streaming live at WURDradio.com and on the WURD Radio app.
You're waking up
with WURD.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
is a continuation of the mistreatment of black women in the United States. When I think of Black Lives Matter, I'm not just thinking of police brutality. I'm thinking about a whole law enforcement system screaming for reform. You can't tell me he didn't know something, and even if he didn't, he should have.
And now, Roxanne Jones, live on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and we want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is CNN commentator Roxanne Jones. She's a former VP at ESPN, CNN opinion writer, Emmy-nominated producer, co-author of Say It Loud, An Illustrated History of the Black Athlete, and CEO of the Push Marketing Group, a media strategy firm. Roxanne, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Well, your show, woke me up nice, thinking about family gathering, cooking food, and all of that stuff. And of course, seeing Kuwait always makes me happy.
Oh. So what are you going to do for Thanksgiving?
Well, what I usually do is, there are so many people. One, I like your idea of individual plates. I hadn't thought about that. But also, if you have any kind, open your windows, get some good ventilation going in, right? Because that's one of the things that helps the virus move and not just sit still. Open the window, open door, do something, get some ventilation going, turn on a ceiling fan. But what I'm thinking is maybe I can have a front porch. Maybe I can have some people, just circulating around. Maybe I can separate the older people, but we're getting together.
I know that's right.
We're getting together. I mean, if people are sick, obviously they're not going to be able to come.
Right.
I do take everybody's temperature before they even roll up, to the gate. They don't even get in. So, I do all that. I got my alcohol sprays. I like Kuwait's suggestion of there's one. I know I'm healthy because I keep checking. One or two people in that kitchen. That's it. So, maybe it'll be smaller because in general what we always do is invite some new people, maybe people who don't have family, don't have any place to go, might not have food in the house. We always reach out. So maybe that can't happen this year. I'm not sure. But as I was saying in that message, look, we have never in my family, never any black folks I know sat around praising Columbus and celebrating his massacre. Never on Thanksgiving. But it is a day off. It is a federal holiday. And so it's also a good time. Schools get on break, so your kids are home and, you're sitting in the house watching football. That might be different this year, too. Everything is different. But it's a day that we the only thing we've always done is said what we're thankful for. And sometimes, that's hard to come. You may have just lost somebody.
Right.
You may be going through something yourself, trying to survive cancer or, anything. May have lost your parents, your mother. But we still try to dig down deep and help people. And honestly, there are often tears at the table because life is hard for us, right?
Yeah.
But just being around people who love you and who have known you, is support. Sometimes that's all we can do to get through it. And so I'll be darned if I let somebody tell me I can't be around loved ones on a day that everybody is home. No, I'm not done. Listen.
Yeah.
We need this. We need it.
Yeah.
We figure out how to do it. We need it.
Yeah, we absolutely going to do Thanksgiving. That's just out. Talking about cancel. Yeah, okay. We going to do what we got to do. And I know, and I'm shouting out to the queens in the family, my mom, my aunt, my wife. Look here. I know they going to make it happen, and I'm going to do what I can to support it. So we're going to make sure that we do what we do this Thanksgiving. Because here's the other crazy stuff that we got to talk about, Roxanne, the president. So he's tested positive for coronavirus. He gets in a car with Secret Service agents to wave at supporters. Then he comes back to the White House. The reports say he gave some fist bumps. Then he gets up on the balcony, snatches off his mask, salutes God knows who. There's 30 people in his circle already infected. What do you make of his behavior?
Okay, well, first of all, I wasn't around, but you know how they say Hitler was insane and all the people just followed him? This is how I feel about Trump. in hindsight, we will find out the man had some mental illness, insane.
Yeah.
We followed him blindly. Media believed everything he said. I feel like we can't trust anything. Like our democracy is crumbled, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the things that you, even if you are mad at the country, even for black folks especially, never felt included, we kind of still had trust in the government on basic stuff, right? Or just on basic stuff. But now I don't trust anything the government says. I don't know if this man was sick. I don't know about these drugs he took because nobody has been able to check it. And he went to a military hospital. And we have to remember Trump is commander-in-chief of the military. So whatever he tells those doctors to say, that's what they will say.
Mm-hmm.
They're part of his troops. They're part of the military. So it's not just like a regular hospital, the hierarchy there. And police, law enforcement, we don't trust that.
Mm-hmm.
Now we don't trust healthcare. I don't trust media. I work in media, and I'm still checking people. Like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Who told you that?
Yeah.
What do you talk? Why are we talking about these drugs? Who's making money off these drugs every time he mentions these two drugs that nobody can get, that your health care will not, we can't get this treatment. It won't be covered. So I feel I've been to communist countries, and I remember, even if the people looked normal, like in Cuba, black and brown people, just like in North Philly, that's what it felt like to me. Like, what? I didn't know Cuba was black. But the overwhelming feeling that was weird there was that everyone was afraid of the government, and they weren't trusting the government, and they were whispering, trying to hide stuff. And I just remember thinking, oh my goodness, what is going, this is really weird. A lot of stuff was nice about it, but that overarching, don't say anything bad about the government. The government had signs everywhere telling people, just like Trump does, don't be afraid, we'll take care of you, just bravado nonsense. And that's what we have fallen into. And I remember when I was saying when the virus first hit, when I was questioning that CDC nonsense about, they weren't talking about how it affected black people. And I was like, look, when we look back, because half the reporting isn't even done, they stopped doing that, we will find out just how many tens of thousands of us gone.
I thought it was interesting in the debate where you had Joe Biden, when he could get a word in edgewise, said that 1 in 1,000 African Americans have died from this virus. That was stunning. It was stunning.
It is stunning. It is stunning. And you know what, Solomon? That's not really the actual stat, because reporting that's of the reporting that we have.
Right.
And that's
it's probably higher.
Caveat. It is higher.
Yeah.
That is, some states are still refusing to do a racial report. The government is not doing it. They've told the CDC to stop doing it.
Yep, they did.
So, that should always be, and I try to remind, colleagues, like when you say that, you have to say that's out of the reporting that we have, and every death is not counted. And the people they're not counting first is us.
Yeah.
So 1 out of 1,000, or maybe it's 1 out of 500. We don't know. We'll have to, it's all going to be in hindsight if we ever really get the numbers. But all I know is every black person I know knows somebody has been affected in some way. So that I don't need CNN to tell me, give me some stat that's half reported.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very true. But even if that is underreported, it's like, wow.
It's staggering. Right?
It is.
It's staggering. And despite all that, like, to really sit back and think about that, one, I think, like, those people who are, have families mourning for them, you've lost generational wealth.
Yep.
They can't vote. They, just communities decimated, families decimated, that's what it is. And we really have, other than voting, we're caught up in some nonsense. I still get mad when I see people walking, especially black people. I can't control it. I can't control us, but, if I see somebody, I'm like, where's your man? What are you doing?
Yep.
What are you doing? Like, look, get away from me. Get away. Get away. Go away. We got enough stuff killing us. We don't need to try to add this when it's something we can control.
Yeah.
Just by wearing a mask and washing our hands.
How about that? I want to talk about the Breonna Taylor case because her family is asking Kentucky's governor to replace Attorney General Daniel Cameron with a special prosecutor in their daughter's shooting death at the hands of Louisville police. I'm curious, do you think the powers that be thought the family would go away after that $12 million settlement?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. I think, one, it was very interesting how the city came to that suit before the DA, the Attorney General, announced the grand jury findings, right? So it was almost like, I mean, it was, to me, it was very disrespectful. I knew what they were doing at the time.
Yeah.
Like, let's try to, you know, make the black people quiet, get the protesters off the street, throw them a lot of money. You know, that's all insurance. Just throw them some money. We can say it's a record. We can, you know, and then nobody's guilty. Nobody goes to prison for this murder, you know, and they'll go away because, you know, black people just want money. They don't really. So they dehumanized us again in total disrespect for her family, and I'm glad. I was afraid of that, too. I was like, oh, what are they going to do now? I hope their attorney, Crump, is still pushing, you know, for justice and not just going away. And you know, to his credit, he was on it the next day pushing for justice. And so, yes, I think this is a good lesson for all of us. One, I'm glad they're pushing for, I mean, the more stuff that comes out about Cameron and how he got to his decision, what he let the grand jury hear, what the ballistics evidence is saying, the more bogus this whole thing looks. And he's sitting at the top of it. So, you know, I'm all for calling for him to get out of there. Now, of course, we don't know what's coming next. When you're calling for somebody to step down, you know, or a special prosecutor, or you have to know, like, how that system works and what's next in line. So I don't know. A special prosecutor would be good. I think we have to go through whatever wheels of justice we have to apply here to get justice for Breonna. But in the end, it's an individual case, right? And so what we want is reform, policing reforms and justice reforms on a federal level that will influence the states, or it can come from the states and trickle up. But, you know, nobody should be satisfied even if this AG is gone. It's the system that allowed this to happen. Maybe his own greed as well, as we're talking about all of us being responsible for our actions.
Right.
So if they're dangling, you can be on the Supreme Court justice list, and Cameron was bamboozled by that, then shame on him. Shame on him. You know, that's a reality. That's what some people just go for themselves and nothing else. But I don't know how that man sleeps at night. I
don't either.
How he is sleeping at night.
Roxanne, every time I see his face, I'm angry. I'm angry because you standing up on the international stage, really selling us out, man. And we all know it, you know it, and it's just, you know, it's reprehensible to me to see him doing that.
It is reprehensible. It's sickening. And you know, I just don't, we know that this happens. I mean, look, Malcolm and Martin gone with infiltrators around. So we know that this happens. But when you see it, and I don't know what the answer is, because you can throw venom at Cameron, but he's not hearing that, right?
No.
So what is the answer? Is it an intervention? Do we send people to go talk to him? Do we, like, dude, what is your, like, take us through this. Take us through this. Because now I fear like he's just surrounded by Trump cronies. He's living in his own isolated bubble thinking he's a special black man. And they're using him to keep us all in line, to cover up our murders, to cover up state and federal, you know, murders. So he's standing by it. And all I can hope is that Crump stays on the case, that these jurors keep, you know, telling their stories, that we keep covering it, because I think even media is surprised in this case when you really look at Breonna Taylor and this whole thing, how it all, like what? It's almost like they don't even want to report because it's so bad.
It is.
You know, it's so blatant.
Yeah.
You know, they're almost like this is incredible, but I keep saying like, no, it's not incredible. This happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens all the time to many families who don't have Benjamin Crump
Yeah.
in their voice.
And to your point, this is systemic, and really seeing Daniel Cameron do this really is the best illustration of how this is systemic. It doesn't matter if the person in that position is black or white.
Right.
They are part of a system that is designed to deliver unequal justice, and in many cases outright injustice when it comes to black people. So we're going to be watching it carefully and seeing what happens going forward. But I think it's a wise move for the family to say, no, we want a whole new special prosecutor in this case. I think it's a wise move because now it puts the governor on defensive. What are you going to do? We'll see.
Right. And how do you say no to that?
Right.
How do you say no to that? So we will see. Keep talking about it, Solomon.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Absolutely. We are going to do that. That is CNN commentator Roxanne Jones. She is a former VP at ESPN, CNN opinion writer, Emmy-nominated producer, co-author of Say It Loud, an illustrated history of the black athlete, and CEO of the Push Marketing Group, a media strategy firm. Roxanne, thanks so much.
Thank you, Solomon. Have a good week.
Okay, you too. On the other side, it's Daryl C. Murphy. He is Planned Philly's transportation and mobility reporter. He joins us to talk about his most recent article, talking about creating a public bank. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
WURD Radio presents the following information to help you navigate the upcoming election.
This is Charles Ellison, host of Reality Check on WURD. More than 2/3 of all poll workers are 61 years of age or older. That's created a serious poll worker shortage as older poll workers are understandably nervous about health risks during pandemic. If you or someone you know under the age of 40 is looking for part-time work and is interested in contributing to their community, sign up to be a poll worker today. In Pennsylvania, go to votespa.com, click on Be a Poll Worker, and complete an application. Keep following us at onWURD on Twitter, facebook.com/forward, and #WordOnPolitics for constant updates on election 2020. And remember, vote early.
Stay informed
and vote. For more from Charles Ellison, tune in Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or visit wordradio.com.
Listen live at wordradio.com.
We demand Black Health now. The Black Health Matters Summit connects you to experts and advocates that will provide information on managing chronic disease and options to improve health outcomes. This virtual program will be held on Saturday, October 10th from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll focus on mental health, oncology, fibroids, prostate health, diabetes, and more. Register for free at blackhealthmatters.com. That's blackhealthmatters.com.
It's easier than ever to get the right health coverage for families of all sizes.
This is Bonnie, Ronnie, Tani, Johnny.
Penny gets you covered. Millennials, gig workers, virtual birthday partiers.
Grandma, you're on mute.
Penny gets you all covered. Penny helps you compare plans, get financial assistance, and purchase health insurance that fits your life. Get covered at PENNIE.com.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM and 96.1 FM, WURD. I'm going to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. And joining us now is Daryl C. Murphy. Daryl C. Murphy is, of course, a reporter on transportation and mobility with Plan Philly. He joins us to talk about his recent article on creating a public bank in Philadelphia to address inequity in lending. Daryl, good morning.
Good morning. I got to make a quick correction. I'm reporting on like race and urban planning now. That was a recent change.
Okay.
I'm making that announcement here.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate that. And so, yeah, so when you talk about inequity in lending, race is at the center of that. Somebody did some really great work on that. A man named Aaron Glantz from, he's out in California. He's working with a news outlet there. He wrote a whole book about it, and it showed just the inequity in lending. What did you find when you looked at the patterns of lending when it comes to race in the city of Philadelphia and beyond?
Well, one of the things that I came across was, there were a number of like lawsuits and things like that against banks for, inequitable or predatory lending practices. Philadelphia recently had one where they had settled for $10 million with Wells Fargo, basically like accusing them of like reverse redlining, where issuing loans with these, exorbitant fees and interest rates to Black and Latino borrowers. Also, the city sued seven big banks. J.P. Morgan, Citigroup, Bank of America included in that. So, what the practice tends to be is, it's either, Black and brown folks don't get the loans, or when they do get the loans, they're taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, one of the things that's really come out of some of the reporting I've seen is that Black person could have the same credit rating, the same down payment, the same income as a white person. Those are basically the three things that they make these decisions on, and not get the loan, whereas the white person will get the loan. Have you seen any of that?
Yeah, there was a big revelation a couple of years ago about that. Pretty much the same story you just laid out. What it found was that, banks were being very discriminatory towards Black borrowers. Like when they would go for, it was related to home mortgages, right? So like they would go and try to get a mortgage for a home, and they would have, all the good marks, good employment, good credit. And, if you're Black, the bank is like, no, we can't give you this mortgage. But if you are, somebody who, may have some of those credentials, they were, who was not Black, they were able to get a mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
That was a big investigative story that came out a couple of years ago. So, yeah.
So what is a public bank then? When you talk about solving some of these issues, what exactly is a public bank?
So a public bank is a local municipal like institution that it could be, it could be owned by that municipality, or it could simply be controlled by it. But basically, it's just like a city's own banking institution. So right now, the city of Philadelphia deposits, all its like taxpayer revenue and stuff like that. It like deposits it just like we do, and Wells Fargo, Citigroup, in commercial and regular banks. What a public bank does is just keeps all that money. So you pay your money to the city takes that money, deposits it in their own little piggy bank, and they run. It's a bank. It's a legit bank. They you generate. They can issue loans for interest and generate profit and stuff like that. So basically, a public bank is just a bank that the city owns that allows it to have more autonomy over its money. So you don't have to go out looking for loans. or you don't have to deal with banking fees or interest rates and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've never. So, do we have any examples of that? Any public banks here in Philadelphia?
Not in Philadelphia, at least to my knowledge, I haven't come across any. But the main example that a lot of public bank advocates point to is the Bank of North Dakota. That bank is the longest running bank and the only one in the continental United States, on here. There's also one in Samoa, American Samoa. But people point to the Bank of North Dakota as like the main success story because that one, it's over 100 years old. It does the things that you want a public bank to do. They take in money, they generate a lot of profit, and very successful, and they're able to invest in local infrastructure. They even partner with other banks to because they partner with other banks for certain student loans and things like that. So it's definitely a model that a lot of public banking advocates point to.
So North Dakota.
Yeah.
Is the bank headquartered in North Dakota?
Yes.
All right. So just did a quick search, and it's ain't no black people in North Dakota. So how does it deal with? Does it help to deal with the issue of racism in lending? And North Dakota is about 2.7% of the total population in that state is black, whereas nationwide it's about 12 or 13% on average. So way below the national average in terms of the black population. Does that bank deal with this issue that we're talking about of racism in lending?
Well, that I don't know for sure. I didn't dig that deep into the Bank of North Dakota. But what I do know is that with public banks, the goals and the purpose, it's the city's bank, right? It's a city-run bank. So, and that city is taking taxpayer money, and that bank can use that money for whatever the city needs. So, there was a report that just came out looking at the feasibility of a public bank in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And one of the goals in Philadelphia is, to be more equitable and to drive economic development because Philadelphia has, this huge poverty problem. And, what the study found was, if Philadelphia could help address this, could help address poverty, could help address it through investments in small businesses, it could address those issues with a public bank, and kind of like make those investments to small businesses that would help generate jobs, that would help drive some of this economic development. But also, outside of that, there's other local investments that could be made into infrastructure, education, and many things. I mean, and that's just those are just the areas that the study focused on there, and also bear in mind that, if you're just taking in taxpayer money and you're not, seeking loans from outside institutions, but you're keeping it, in the city, so you're not asking for loans that are going to result in interest fees and stuff that take money out of the city. So that leaves you with more money that you can reinvest into the city. And mind you, you're still generating profit because you're issuing loans, but perhaps the fees are not as high. You know what I mean? And plus, you could do more innovative things to help people who may be unbanked, or help people who may have bad credit and stuff like that. So you just have way more autonomy over your money. So that's the cool thing about a public bank. I mean, if we, to whom it may concern, it's like that. It's the city's bank, and the bank is going to respond to the needs of the city. You know what I'm saying? It's taking in that public feedback,
Okay. Now, you talked about small businesses. Talk about some of the inequities in terms of access to capital with small businesses from a racial standpoint in Philadelphia and beyond.
Well, from what I've seen these past few months is just, it's the same problems that, that tend to follow us. Is just like, there's not a lot of access to capital, not a lot of information made available, and a lot of small businesses, small businesses period, right? Like small businesses tend to just run on like really thin profit margins, right? Like they're not making a whole lot of money. Some of them are just breaking even, and some might even be losing money, right? Like, so there's not a whole lot of access, and also like there's the relationships that some of these businesses have with banks, that are just not that strong. Like we mentioned earlier, some other businesses might be able to go to banks and, people know them and they can just, do business and get loans and whatnot. But like some of these smaller businesses, in Philadelphia, may not have those relationships. So, getting a loan, getting a business loan or something like that may not be that easy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just a different kind of game for black and brown businesses, particularly those in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. So is Philadelphia working on trying to put a public bank in place?
Right now, there is a movement emerging. There are a number of local advocates who are definitely trying to bring this conversation here. Mm-hmm. Right now, there is some momentum in City Hall through Derek Green. He has been kind of like, cheerleading this concept in City Council. We just had a hearing yesterday looking to bring some more information to his colleagues and get that going. So right now, it's in a very, very early stages. Because, what has to happen is, you got to get this momentum going here, and then eventually you're going to have to take it to Harrisburg, to get some laws changed, some state laws changed or amended or added, So it's very, very early right now.
Okay. All right. So I want to thank you for sharing your work with us this morning on WURD. Where can we find your work on this topic?
It's at WHYY.org. Also reporting for Playing Philly. It's Darryl C. Murphy, WHYY.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon. So we want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. You can, of course, also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So a couple of comments that we have here. Zen Motley says, we don't need to be in a regulated bank. That's our problem. We got to organize ourselves. So that's one comment that's here. And then Talmadge Dickerson says, we need our own nonprofit bank, the Black Bank. Public deposits by text. 20 million black folk with a phone, $1 a week, change your community overnight. So that's another comment. Joey Dixon, good morning to you. He says, peace and jazz to you. Good to see you there, Brother Joey Dixon. And then also, Geraldine Mayfield says, United Bank is a black-owned bank, but I don't think it's a public bank. And yeah, so I'm not sure. But Amir Ali, he's being, I think, facetious. He's saying, so I guess talking about, maybe Columbus. I don't know where the comment comes, but saying, but is it helping Native Americans? Oh, never mind. I don't know what that comment's for. I apologize. Kia Fisher Copeland, what about African American owned banks? Okay, so that's where the United Bank comment came from. All right, I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying.
You're trying to work.
I'm trying. Dolores Booker, I don't think it's the crime bill itself. I think it's who they have enforcing the bill, a.k.a. the law. So we were talking about that a little bit earlier as well. Linda Shields says, I like the idea of a city bank and maybe get the big churches to back the effort. And then I did see another comment as well, but I can't find it. So I'm going to end my comments for right now until I can find some more.
All right. So that's kind of where we're at. And, of course, we're talking about a number of things on this morning show. The president, his COVID-19 diagnosis, the weird conflicting information around it. But we're also talking about what's happening in the city of Philadelphia. We've had 364 murders thus far in Philadelphia this year. It's the highest since 2007. It's the highest in 13 years. And, of course, we continue to work on that issue through Man Up PHL. And, of course, other efforts are working around that. Mothers in Charge, Every Murder is Real. So many organizations working on the issue of violence in the city of Philadelphia. And we salute all of them. But we're going to be talking with one of our board members, Jeff Brown, in just a few minutes about Man Up PHL and specifically our efforts around trying to find employment for people who are likely to be either victims or perpetrators demographically of this gun violence. So we're going to be talking with him in just a few minutes about that. And, of course, we're talking to you about all of these things that are happening on this morning show, including what y'all going to do for Thanksgiving. It's a big question, Kuwesa. It's a big one. It might be the biggest one yet. What are y'all going to do for Thanksgiving? We got this whole COVID thing. We got all of that. But, man, you ain't going to tell me that we ain't going to get together. We ain't going to have some sweet potato pie. Come on, man, stop playing. We ain't going to have some turkey. We ain't going to have some fried chicken. We ain't going to have some potato salad, macaroni and cheese, greens. Like, nah, you ain't going to tell me we ain't going to have that. We ain't going to have some cornbread. Come on, man, stop playing. Like, we got to figure out a way. So I need y'all to get your creativity together and figure it out. What are we going to do for Thanksgiving? On the other side, we're going to talk with Jeff Brown from Brown's Family ShopRite about our mentoring session tonight. I've got the job now. How do I keep it? I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Enterprise Exterminators, located 4943 Wayne Avenue, specializing in lantern flies, termites, bed bugs, fleas, mice, and roaches. Do-it-yourself kits are available. Call now, 215-849-7070.
Support independent black media and join the 4WURD movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com. Solutions on Word. Hosted by Dwayne Royster and Amadi Braxton. Solutions on Word. Exploring solutions to national, state, and local issues through the lens of race and gender. Solutions on Word. Fridays 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Solutions is sponsored by Power Interfaith Movement, working towards life, liberty, and democracy for all.
2020 is the year of voter options. We have many different ways to exercise one of the most important activities in our lifetime. Some of us might be voting by mail, but the rest of us can still vote safely while masked up and social distancing in person at your local polling locations. If you're in Philadelphia, learn more about where your polling location might be at either votespa.com or philadelphiavotes.com. For more information on how to vote in Pennsylvania, visit states.aarp.org/Pennsylvania. Vote early.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Of course, we're talking about the issue of gun violence, and it is literally an epidemic here in the city of Philadelphia. 364 murders as of yesterday. It is the highest since 2007. Man Up PHL, of course, working on that issue through mentoring and helping men that are in a demographic that is affected by this, by helping them to get employment and other resources and mentoring them through that. And here to talk about it is Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown is the owner of Brown's Family ShopRights. He's also a board member of Man Up PHL. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon.
How you doing?
I'm doing good today.
Yeah. This gun violence is crazy, man. You know, the news yesterday that we had reached 364 homicides in the city of Philadelphia, you know, just kind of heartbreaking news.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. I mean, I thought that was in the past.
Yeah.
And we started to move in a good direction, and to fall so far is very discouraging.
Yeah. So one of the things that we do, you know, we do our mentoring, of course, weekly, and have moved online with that, and have some mentors working one-on-one with men around this issue. But one of the other things that we do is help people to get employment. And one of the things we've discovered is that you also have to teach people, okay, you've got the job, how do you keep it? We're going to be talking about that tonight, and you're going to be joining us along with Brian Ellis, another of our board members from Drexel University. How do you keep a job once you get it? Everybody doesn't know those skills.
Yeah, and it's not complex, but it's very important. So I think it starts out with showing up for work on time. Most things work in shifts, and if you don't show up for work on time, it's resulting in another person not being able to leave or not taking care of your customers. You know, with daycare and everything else, it's important to show up for work on time. The second is show up ready to work, which means you dressed appropriately, whatever your company dress code is, clean, and you punch in, you know, let's say a minute before you're due. That's a good second thing. The third thing is, you know, a lot of young people, they have their own language, you know, street language. And it's interesting, and I'm not against it, but it's not good for a place of work.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very important to adjust your language to customer service oriented and to serve all people, not to communicate in a way that only certain people understand you or could take it the wrong way.
Right.
And so I think language is important. In the same token, what I noticed is probably one of the biggest problems that causes people, new employees, to fail is their ability to resolve conflict. A lot of times someone will say something, and it wasn't intended to offend anyone, but it's taken in an offensive way.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have a conflict. And I think one of the most important skills, whether you're on the street or in a place of work, is to resolve those conflicts nonviolently, without, you know, foul language, without escalating.
Yeah.
And if you know the skills to do that, it's not that hard, and you can de-escalate most conflicts, and everyone can go back and you know, live for another day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think all of those things are critically important in terms of keeping a job. And the other thing that we want our folks to be able to do is not only to keep the position they have, but to be able to rise through the ranks wherever they are, because, you know, you can turn, you know, many jobs into a career. So, you know, rising through the ranks, Jeff, how do you go about doing that?
So, you know, today a lot of people, they're not really sure what they want to do with their lives, and they get part-time jobs to put money in their pocket. They're not really thinking about their career. So if you're the kind of person who's thinking about your career, you got an edge. And I'll tell you, it's not that complicated. In our place, people don't show up for work. And so let's say you work in the seafood department and a person don't show up for work. We need to move someone from another area.
Yeah.
So we'll say, any volunteers like to learn about seafood? And often very few people will raise their hands. And I always tell everybody, the more you know, the more you're worth.
Yep.
They can never, you can leave the job with me and go to another place, but they can never take away what you learned while you were here. So learn everything you can, because what happens to a person who's been through everything and knows everything about our business, they end up being a manager.
Yep.
And so in Uplift, where we do training for returning citizens, we tell them that, and like 40% of the new hires from Uplift, they end up being managers. And all we told them is learn every chance you can, volunteer for every new thing so you learn a new skill, and just be enthusiastic about your own success. It's not just for the company, it's for yourself.
Yeah, I think that is critical. You know, and we're talking with Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown, of course, is from Brown's Family ShopRights, also a board member for Man Up PHL. He's going to be joining us tonight for our mentoring session. Now, I've got the job. Now, how do I keep it? That's the title for tonight, and it's critical because, you know, we talk about the issue of gun violence, but employment certainly connected to keeping people out of situations or out of places or out of times where, you know, they might be more susceptible to that, Jeff.
Yeah, I got to tell you, if you have a job and you have money in your pocket, and you resolving conflicts works in the family too. Works with your kids, works with your parents, with your brothers and sisters. You don't have a reason to be on the street planning to hurt anybody. And what ends up happening is you don't do it because you got something to live for. And I think it's so important that we help these young people find opportunities and find their thing, the thing that they can be successful and contribute to society, because all the young people, and you know, I'm an entry-level job. A grocery store is an entry-level job. It could also be a manager's job, but a lot of entry-level people come to us first. And I'll tell you, they have so much human potential. They're so smart. Even if they didn't graduate from high school, they have so much potential. And it's just a shame to see those lives go to waste with all that potential.
Yeah, agreed. So we're going to be talking about that more tonight at 6 p.m. On our Man Up PHL mentoring session. I've got the job. Now, how do I keep it? We're going to be joined, of course, by Jeff Brown and Brian Ellis, another of our board members who's from Drexel University, talking about those soft skills and some of those things that you need in order to maintain that job and keep yourself safe. Jeff, where do people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on all the social media channels, Jeff Brown Grocer on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and if you reach out to me, I'll follow up.
All right.
I get a lot of people that do.
All right. That is Jeff Brown. He, of course, the owner of Brown's Family ShopRights, Fresh Grocers as well. Jeff, thanks so much. We'll talk to you tonight.
All right. Thank you, Solomon.
All right. You're welcome. You're welcome. And, of course, we're going to be working with them on a gun buyback as well. Just trying to do everything we can, man, to keep these guns off the streets, keep our people from being killed, man. It is critical. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Kwesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So a couple more comments that we have here. We have Linda Shields saying, for Thanksgiving, our family is too big to get together, and we would never sacrifice the health of our new baby born Naomi. So I suggest Zoom calls discussing new recipe, latest happenings in the family, and good thoughts and or gatherings in the big yard from the hours of 11 to 3, and then go home before the sun goes down. Everybody bring their own chairs, and we gather outside, social distance in a circle around a fire pit if necessary, and share the love, not germs. So that's one comment that's there. Shayna Bayard says, I just saw that happen. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to pull this up. I don't know if I should read it. Okay, well, I'll read it. I just saw that happen with a ShopRite employee last week. She took what someone did personally, and it wasn't about her at all. She got pulled off the line and sent home. Jody Mayfield says, don't do drugs so you can pass the drug test. That's true, though. You know, y'all, That's true. Nikki Carter, very good advice for young people. Heck, for everyone, especially the last one. When I saw two grown women fighting at a business, whew, I was too done. And Geraldine Mayfield also says, thank you, Mr. Brown, for hiring people who need a second chance for reentry folks. So that's definitely important. He does a lot of work in the community, so we really appreciate that. Zen Motley, saying it's more important to create your own job. People need to learn how to grow, create, educate, and reproduce what we have. I partly agree with you on that. I think that's important. But also, some folks just don't have the ability to create their own jobs.
They need a job.
Yeah, they need a job. They don't have time to do that. They need the money now. So, but I do, partially agree with you on that. Steph Michelle, great show. Solomon and Kawesa. Kia Fisher Copeland, potential means nothing without opportunity. Very, very correct. Erica, Jeff Brown is that guy. He sure is. He really is. And then I think I saw one more comment here. Kia Fisher Copeland saying also, we need to tell each other, young and old, that you matter and you are loved. So those are just a couple more comments.
Love it, love it, love it. So I'm thinking about, because here's what I did on Mother's Day, Kawesa. I went to the dollar store, right? And I got individual packages in order to, get these things to my family. And I went and I bought, a big, almost like a catered meal. I put it all in individual packages. I delivered all of that stuff to my family members, but we're going to deliver all that stuff to one house. So we all got to be, together. We got to figure it out. Now, I got a yard, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe we put on our coats and our masks. We go outside. We got a table outside. I don't know what we're going to do, but we got to figure this thing out, because there's no way in the world that my family does not get together for Thanksgiving, Kawesa. I'm thinking about how we make that happen, because I cannot go without that chicken, right? That turkey, that macaroni and cheese, that potato salad, those greens. It's really not going to happen. It's just not.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do either, because my mom and I were talking about it. We were like, I don't know, do we do something big? Like, not big. I mean, we're not that big of a family, but I mean, we don't really know yet. But trust, the conversations have already started.
That's what I'm talking about.
2 months away, and we're like, how are we gonna eat this food? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen. 215-634-8065. We're gonna take one more call. Kawesa's looking like, nah, no, we're not. Okay, we're gonna take one more call. WURD Radio. Who's this?
Miss Margaret.
Okay, Miss Margaret.
Solomon.
Yes.
You starting up trouble.
I know.
Wait a minute, Solomon. The church potluck, the Sister Berta went to ShopRite and got the 12 pieces of chicken. I said, did you cook this chicken? She said, I went to the dollar store, got 2 containers, separated it, and we got chicken. I said, you didn't cook this chicken, Berta. You know good well you have to tell a lie in the church. This weekend we were showing the twins, right? We fixed the house up, and you can come view them on the front porch, look through the window. So my niece said, Aunt Margaret, I got to go pick up the chicken. I said, okay, let's go. So we get to ShopRite. Now, each tray is 90 pieces of chicken, right? So she ordered 2.
Okay.
Somebody else ordered 2.
Oh, y'all had abundance.
Wait a minute. We ordered 2. Even the name Jones.
Y'all had 6 90-piece things.
No, listen.
Go ahead.
We only ordered 2 90 trays. Right? Somebody else ordered 2 90 trays. So my niece said, Aunt Margaret, the chicken, somebody picked up the chicken. I said, who got the chicken? I said, the ShopRite cooked some good chicken, girl. She said, somebody with the name Jones. I said, well, who was it? She said, I think my cousin was in there, Kim. I said, wait a minute. Your cousin? What's she having? How many? She said, somebody done picked up the chicken. I said, well, wait a minute. It's 90 in each tray. You ordered 2. They ordered 2. The guy said, Miss, the chicken was picked up. I said, the chicken was picked up. Well, who got the chicken? My niece had to get the regular chicken and bring it home, and the girls had to fry it.
Lord have mercy. Well, sometimes it's like that. Now, I tried to listen, but we got to go. It is 9:58. I want to thank everybody who tuned in on today's show right here at WURD Radio. I want to thank all of our guests, including Daryl C. Murphy of Planned Philly, CNN commentator Roxanne Jones, Dr. Delana Wardlaw, Dr. Elena McDonald, and, of course, I want to thank each and every one of you. And now, for super producer Kawesa Mathis and everyone here at WURD, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying stay tuned for Reality Check with Charles Ellison, and tune in tomorrow at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.